undefeated no more. An absolute domination, 84-63, Kansas.
I'm feeling better. It's coming back slowly to me. I was out for a while, but every game I feel like I'm getting better. And tonight was a great win. Definitely coming off the loss to West V. We knew we had to come here and get a win, so that's what we did.
All right, a Wednesday edition of The Zone right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you a lot of stuff to get into today, a jam-packed, eclectic show, because we will have a conversation around the NFL. We'll have some talk about college basketball, some college football, maybe some movies mixed in along the way, and what is a weapon in the NFL. I do want to get into, try to figure that out. I think a lot of us have different ideas of what a quote-unquote weapon is in the NFL. I'll talk to Cynthia Freeland about that. Coming up at 11 o'clock, our NFL analytics expert from the NFL Network. We start our weekly conversation. Technically, last week we started it, but we hadn't really got to the end result of it being a weekly conversation. Daniel Holmes will join us coming up at noon, RGR Football and Bleacher Report. We're going to talk with Daniel each and every Wednesday at noon through the draft, as there will be obviously a lot more focus on the draft this year with the Chiefs picking 9th and needing an overhaul of a lot of different positions and personnel. Can they do it in the draft, free agency, all of those things, because it's all going to be connected and intertwined, and people that have listened to me or our conversations with Daniel, I am a huge fan of his, and I think he does just absolutely fantastic work on RGR Football, and then his breakdowns of NFL draft prospects that are national. But obviously, there is a Kansas City view when he's tweeting about some of those things, but nationally he's breaking down certain players for Bleacher Report and getting into all of the film and the breakdowns. So pumped for our weekly conversations with Daniel every Wednesday at noon. You'll get to hear him talk about the things that need to happen for the Chiefs and things that can stay the same, and the Chiefs getting back to the level that they have been at the last 7 years when they've been to the AFC Championship game. Next Sunday will be the first time since January of 2018. January of 2018 is the last time there was an AFC Championship game without the Kansas City Chiefs. The 2017 season, and in that January, 2018, last time there was not a Kansas City Chiefs football team playing in the AFC Championship game. A week from Sunday, that'll be the case. How did the Chiefs get back there? Is this a one-year blip, or is this a trend that the Chiefs will just be in the mix of all these teams in the AFC and not the standard of the AFC? We'll talk about a lot of those things throughout the show and throughout this offseason for the Chiefs, obviously, with that. But it is nice that the Eagles dynasty is short-lived and non-existent. It is not easy to go to back-to-back Super Bowls or 3 in a row. Not everybody can do it. Not every dynasty can find a way to get back to the Super Bowl after winning or losing a Super Bowl, to get back there without losing in the first round of the playoffs. It's a tough thing to do, to go to 7 straight championship games, to win 5 of them. 5 of the last 6 you went to, and the only loss in overtime. So 913-912-4810, that's how the show lines up. 913-912-4810 to be a part of the show, part of the conversation. There are very few times that I come away with being surprised at a KU performance at Allen Fieldhouse. If, historically, I'm surprised by a KU performance at Allen Fieldhouse, that would be because they lost. It would be because they did not play well. It would be because the officials called the game fairly. I'm joking, Michael. I'm just kidding. It was a joke, brother. All right? Not. Don't give me that side eye, all right? Give me the straight eye. So there are times when you're surprised. But isn't that typically what it is? That it's because they've lost or haven't played well? Whether I should or shouldn't be, and I would guess there's probably KU fans feel the same way. I'm watching that game, and I came away surprised. It might be the first time I'm watching a KU team completely swarm and overwhelm an opponent at Allen Fieldhouse, and I went, this is genuinely surprising. I am genuinely taken aback by the dominance in which I'm watching, because we haven't seen that KU team this year. And we've seen Iowa State. I mean, have we seen that KU team in the last couple of years?
I was going to say, I don't think we haven't in
Sorry,
multiple
Michael.
years. That was going to be my main takeaway, this was the best Kansas performance in not just a year, but multiple seasons now. Maybe since the NIL really got kicked off. This was the best performance we have seen a Jayhawk team have. Credit to Bill Self, credit to this team.
Yeah.
First time I felt, especially this year, they learned how to play with Darren Peterson, and it was not the Darren Peterson show.
100%. 100%. I'm watching that game, and I'm like, this isn't, I've got the ball, he's on the floor, I best throw him the ball.
Correct.
And it also wasn't Darren going, I've got the ball, I have to shoot.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be out here, so I need to shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. Shoot the ball. I got to shoot the ball. 41% of all of the shots taken while Darren Peterson is on the floor is taken by Darren Peterson this year. All right? I mean, that leads the nation, by the way, in shot percentage. He's number one. He just doesn't qualify nationally yet in that. All right? He's number one in the Big 12 because he qualifies for the Big 12 because he's played enough minutes in games. So he has the highest possession percentage, which means the minutes that he plays that the ball is in his hands. He's number one in possession percentage and number one in shot percentage. That isn't the formula for this KU team, and I think we see that. How quickly could they learn to play together as a unit and not Darren Peterson plus four guys on the floor, or a KU basketball team on the floor and Darren Peterson on the bench? And I feel like last night was a glimpse of what it could be, and that is without Darren Peterson playing well.
Yeah.
In terms of scoring, he wasn't as efficient as he typically is. What, 17 points, 16 shots, something like that?
16 points, 15 shots.
I was close, very close. I knew it was 1 point more
one off,
than the shots that he took. And typically he's been like 13, 14 shots, 28.
Yeah.
Right? And so, because he's getting to the free throw line, he's knocking down threes. And so to see him be as inefficient as he was last night, but to see KU still drop 84 on the second best defensive team in America was an impressive performance, to say the least. I don't even think impressive does it due diligence. And, you know, Sterling, you'll learn this when, you know, you've got little ones in the future, and Michael, when or Sterling, when your little ones show up and knock on the door and be like, hey, you're my dad. Sorry.
No, that's fine.
I don't know how many kids you have out there. No, it's not my business, all right? Nor is it anybody else's. Thank you to stay out of my personal life. But little man had basketball practice last night during the KU game. His practice started at 7:30. So I'm watching the KU game starting at 8 during practice, and then, you know, they'll take a water break, and a couple of kids are walking over. It's like, what's the score? They're like, my dad's there. What's the score? And I'm like, your dad's having a good time.
Yeah.
Unless he's an Iowa State fan, I'm assuming by you wearing a Jayhawk shirt at practice here, I'm assuming your dad's having a pretty good time. It'd be odd if you're a KU fan and he's an Iowa State fan at the game. I think your parents are, your dads are having a really good time tonight out at Allen Fieldhouse. But so my son, we get in the car, and he's like, what's the score? And I'm like, they're up like 31-12. He's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, it's an avalanche. He's like, how? He's like, Iowa State's really good. So we went home, and I showed him the first 5, 6, 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, it's like, what do you see here? What's going on here? Because it jumped off the screen. KU came out immediately with the energy, the urgency, the physicality, and Iowa State was like, whoa, hold on, wait, hold, you guys have – this is not how you guys play.
Correct.
And I said, that's – if you show me the first 5 or 6 minutes of a game and I see a team, I don't even need to show the score. It can be like back in the 80s and 90s when basketball, they wouldn't show the score throughout the entire game.
Which was absurd.
And then it went to break and you would see the score. You'd have to keep track along the game while you're watching in standard definition. I don't know how he did it. It's fuzzy. Did the ball go in? I'm not sure. Was that a 3? Was it a 2? I don't know. I can't see. There's no replay here. Kind of like last night, except for the high definition. But we're watching and I'm like, don't even show me the score. Just show me that. The difference between the teams diving on the floor, loose balls, defending, boxing out, getting, tipping the ball away on a defensive rebound or an offensive rebound to get the ball to keep it alive. I'm like, that's the team that's going to win.
Yes.
And I don't know how often we've seen Kansas come out and be the team that felt like we have to outwork the opponent. Because typically, right, you go into Allen Fieldhouse, don't you feel like we've got to bring the energy to Kansas? We've got to match the crowd. We've got to match KU. We've got to match the student section, which is incredibly difficult to do. That's why, people don't go into Allen Fieldhouse and win very often. It's a rare circumstance where KU is looking at the other opponent and going, we better freaking play harder and with more of a sense of urgency and get our ass on the floor and do everything possible, scratch and claw, to win this game for 40 minutes or we're going to lose. And also the crowd having your back and in that whole game. I don't know how often they can get to that level.
Sure.
Certainly outside of Allen Fieldhouse. But they've got to play like that. If they're not going to go out and out-talent every team they go up against outside of Darren Peterson. But can they go out and outwork and then let the talent, like I'm talking about every game. There's a lot of teams they're going to play against that they're going to out-talent them. But they've out-talented TCU, and they had to come back from being down by a decent amount.
Sure.
Like they've got more talent than West Virginia, and they lost that game. So talent alone isn't going to do it. It's talent alone and being the more aggressive, the higher sense of urgency, the team that puts you on your heels. That's how they have to play.
I think the best example of this was defensively the first, 15 minutes of the game. Iowa State had 10 turnovers. They had 10 turnovers in the first half. I mean, it was just...
And KU had, 13 assists on 17 made buckets and turned Iowa State over 10 times?
So this, to me, I'm not trying to make this a Mizzou comparison.
Well, here we go, Michael.
But remember when Missouri, at home, they beat Kansas. Missouri needed that game more than Kansas did. With Hunter Dickinson, it was all that.
You're talking about last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
That was one of those games where I think Kansas came out and was almost surprised. Because I think some of those Kansas guys didn't know the rivalry. You can talk about it, but until you're in it, it is a little different,
and
right?
Missouri needed that game more than Kansas did.
Missouri needed that game way more than Kansas did.
Yep.
And that first 10 minutes, we're like...
Tamar Bates was like, I know the rivalry.
Correct.
I understand the rivalry. I grew up here.
And so for Kansas, it felt like, again, not the same rivalry, obviously, with Iowa State, but Kansas needed this game. They needed this game. And Iowa State came out and was flummoxed. They came out, you're right. They thought, you don't do this.
Hold on.
You're not supposed to out-hustle, outwork us.
We've seen you on film. This isn't how you play.
You aren't supposed to do it. Flory's not supposed to do all of this defensively. I thought Flory was insane.
He's not supposed to drive down the lane, take the contact, be better with the contact, finish through contact with the offhand. That's not what he's done consistently this year. You wish he could get to that level but he hasn't done that. What are you doing here?
And I think that comes to Flory being more aggressive. He's got that
please.
ability. It's just I thought we saw more out of Bryson Tiller. Trey White was unbelievable last night. I think the biggest takeaway has to be, A, the effort, but also that Darren Peterson was not the star of that game. He wasn't a bad player, but you talk about the efficiency shooting, there were guys that were better, and they still found a way to defensively turn it up against Iowa State. They're the number 2 team in the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, I think, the best effort we've seen in years, and I have to go back to UConn a couple years ago in the Fog. That was the last time that I think they had a win like that, and not even in terms of just margin of victory, but where they turned it up and knew the opponent that you're playing is just that elite. That was the last time I saw a win like that.
And outside, like a 4 or 5 minute stretch has done KU in a couple of games. Well, at TCU, it didn't do them in because they came back and ended up winning that game in overtime.
Sure.
But against West Virginia, it did. They had the 5 minute stretch where they went on a 16-0 run. I mean, that's crazy. TCU went on like an 18-1 run. They had the huge lead of 21 points at half, and Iowa State went on a run.
Did you get down to 9?
I think it got to 10.
10?
Because then KU went on the 10-0 run in like 3 minutes, and it was like, oh,
yeah,
good work, Iowa State. Everything you did is now gone because it's the same halftime deficit with now 10 minutes to play.
Yeah.
KU answered that. But what showed me that it wasn't going to be just a quick start for KU, that this was going to be a game that Iowa State was going to have to play uphill in mud, trying to climb uphill in some mud, was KU was up 14-9. I think was the score. It was 14-9. And El Marco was on the floor, and he turned the ball over, and it's going to be 14-11. And instead, El Marco dove, stole the ball back, found McDowell, swung it to Trey White for a three, 17-9, not 14-11.
Yeah.
It's only an 8-point lead at that point, and we know what happened. But that to me was like, nah, this is different. This is going to be KU's winning. At that point, I'm like, KU's winning.
Yeah.
They're winning the game. I've seen this 1,000 times at Allen Fieldhouse. Iowa State is going to come out and have to hit 15 threes, 20 threes to make this a game because KU is going to be all over them because that effort, El Marco didn't turn the ball over and goes, turn around and jog down the floor because this is what I'm supposed to do, and then look over to Bill Self and timeout, get out of the game. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to go sit down for 8 minutes. No, it was turned it over. What do I have to do to get the ball back? It was Mahomes against the Giants.
Yeah.
I'm going to go over and I'm going to steal the ball back because I can't let this happen. This can't happen if we want to win. And El Marco did that, and Trey White hit the – if Trey White doesn't make the shot, the play still happened.
Yeah.
You kept 2 points off the board, and it showed that you were – but Trey White hitting the shot was the culmination of that. And it was just 17-9 early on, but I'm like, it's over. KU's winning this game. It's a matter of how many points they win by.
So, you know my thoughts on Trey White. I love Trey White. I think he's such a good, well-rounded player because he can do it all. He can create. I think he's a really good passer, great rebounder, especially for his size. 10 rebounds in this one, but just the athleticism that he provides. I big fan of Trey White. Been a big fan. I don't think every game is going 5 of 7 from 3, but him going 3 of 7 consistently is going to be
amazing,
doing wonders for this team. With him, Melvin Council hitting a couple of big ones. Obviously, we talked about Jackson. McDowell hit a couple tough threes. Mm-hmm. They went 12 of 24 because Darren Peterson went 2 of 7, right? That was the difference in this one. The one concern I still have about Kansas going forward, game like this, they had 9 personal fouls called against them. They're going to win a lot of games.
Well, it's Allen Fieldhouse. Come on. Just joking.
They're going to win a lot of games.
By the way, they were the more physical team, and Iowa State was settling for threes.
Yes.
So you want to know why? And I hate they got called for this many fouls and they got called for this many fouls. It's like, okay, well, that's a team that shot a bunch of threes. And that's a team that was driving and attacking and forcing the issue and was more physical. So the team defensively that's going up against a team that's going downhill, probably going to foul more versus a team that seems to be settling for more threes.
Well, they only had 13 fouls against Iowa State. They let them play, which was nice.
For sure.
But the point I was making here is I'm not worried about Melvin Council or Trey White, Darren Peterson. Even if they get in foul trouble, you have McDowell and Jackson. Bryson Tiller we have seen get in foul trouble. If Flory gets in foul trouble, which he's done a really good job of not the majority of the season. If Flory gets in foul trouble, I don't know what Kansas does. I don't know what they do.
They need they outscore teams. They drop 80 points somehow, get there, and without, they're not giving up probably 63. So if they give up 70 something, if Flory's in foul trouble, does Darren Peterson become more efficient, and does that equal out Flory? But to your point, overall.
If you play a big man, I'm just saying, Kansas has a really good 7. They have a really good group of 7 guys that you're like, I feel comfortable with those 7 dudes. But once you start getting, and none are big guys, because even Bryson Tiller might be the guy you feel the least comfortable about, and he's your other big.
Yeah.
I don't know what happens if Flory gets into legit foul trouble against a team with another legit big.
Yeah,
that'd be my question.
To your point, Darren Peterson wasn't the star of the game last night. It wasn't the Darren Peterson show. The team was the star.
Correct.
I know Trey White hit a bunch of threes, but it was the team as the star of that, because you can go through and point out every single player and big plays that they made. I mean, 7 guys played, and they all scored at least 8 points.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody that played legitimately, not the end of the game where you got some guys on the floor, but you played 7 guys in that game, and everybody scored at least 8 points. It was not your bench in the last 2 games has got you 5 points combined. So we'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling more zone next. You know, men, if you're out there and you are wondering about maybe some things that are going on internally, whether that is erectile dysfunction, whether that is testosterone level, Heartland Men's Health is here to help and to figure out what may be going on. It might all be related to low testosterone. Have you had your testosterone level checked recently or ever? If you haven't, go check out Heartland Men's Health. Schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. They'll do your lab work, have your results within 30 minutes, and then a licensed medical provider will review the results with you, discuss your options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's $99. That includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. You don't pay a dime. Some of these symptoms and things that are going on, whether that be decrease in libido, putting on weight, going to the gym and not being as productive, motivation to even go to the gym, energy levels being down, brain fog, having to take naps constantly because you don't have that energy, those can all be related to that. Also, ask them about the peptides and the things that they are working with to create a better, healthier, holistic life for men. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. We'll talk with Cynthia Freeland coming up at 11 o'clock. Daniel Harms at noon. Mick Schaefer at 1 o'clock. We're talking some college basketball. Big games tonight for Mizzou and K-State, respectively, in what it means for these two programs. They're both, by the way, favored by 1.5 at home tonight. Mizzou favored by 1.5 over Auburn, and K-State favored by 1.5 over UCF.
I see Missouri as dogs.
Are they dogs now? Because they were a 1.5 favorite this morning.
I see them as 1.5 dog.
Well, that changed by 3 points because I made sure that it was like, okay, they are.
You
wow, no, that's it is. So when I pull up my DraftKings, it showed -1.5, and then it refreshed and went to +1.5. Like this morning when I put this together, they were 1.5 point favorites. They're now that thing moved 3 points quickly. That's interesting. So either way, it opened up as Missouri as a favorite. Jack Johnson is hanging out with us. The question that I was going to pose to the group here is, we talked a lot about what we saw from that performance. How often can they get to that level? Is this you had a players-only meeting, Jack, and you show up at Allen Fieldhouse and say, we need this win more than they do. And they're showing up going, yeah, we can beat Kansas. We're undefeated. And Kansas is going, we've got to play as hard as we've played all year to get this win against one of the best teams in America, still undefeated. Can they bring that often enough that they can reach their level? Or is there a chance we look back in a couple of weeks, Jack, and we go, where's that at? Where's that performance that they put on against Iowa State?
It's certainly possible. And what I wonder is where is that intensity going to be all of next week? Because I really have no doubt in my mind that they're going to play well on Friday. At least you can expect them to. It's Friday night prime time on Fox against Baylor. You're not going to overlook a team like Baylor, even though they're not the same Baylor team they were a couple of years back. Why I point to next week is you have a 10 o'clock tip in Boulder against Colorado, who's 13-2 this year. I mean, they've had a softer schedule, but still you can't use that excuse when West Virginia had one of the softer schedules in the country and they were 10-5 with that. So I don't want to hear any of they're not that great. You've been a bad road team this year with the exception of beating NC State, and that was one that I thought for your resume was going to be a huge boost. But for Allen Fieldhouse to have this type of game, this environment, we've seen in years past, even in lesser talented teams, teams that didn't make it that far in the tournament, they were capable of doing this. What separates those good teams from great teams is, can they do that on the road? Can they go into an environment like Manhattan next Saturday where they haven't won since the national championship year 3 years ago? Can you go in there and punch a team in the mouth and really keep them on the mat? That's what happened last night with Iowa State. That was the second-ranked team in the country with tons of experience, and they looked completely rattled from the tip. I mean, they turned the ball over constantly. They were missing open looks, and KU had great ball reversals. They had great ball movement. The only thing KU wasn't doing well in the first half was rebounding. And that just was working in their favor, that Iowa State was missing far more than they were making. So even if they weren't getting all of the rebounds, Iowa State was still shooting 24% in this one. But they got to show me they can do this on the road. Because as great as last night is, I go back to last week where they overcome that deficit against TCU. When we talk about momentum, that's one where you go, man, I don't see them looking back from this one. You take that win, you roll into Morgantown, beat them, beat Iowa State, beat Baylor, and they got smoked in the second half by West Virginia. And they had been horrific defensively in the first 3 games of conference play. And you could tell there was a switch last night, whether that be the intensity of players-only meeting, we got to have it, or if it finally was that wake-up call of, guys, we lose this game, I don't know if anybody's taking us seriously anymore, and they're not going to until we go on some run of 5 or 6 wins in a row.
If they lose the game last night, you go, okay, what's the next couple of weeks look like, and are they looking at the bubble if it doesn't go their way the next few weeks? I mean, they've got some nice wins on their resume, certainly. NC State on the road, Tennessee, Syracuse, but last night you add in Iowa State, and I think you're you feel good that, all right, a lot of things would have to go wrong the rest of the way for them to not make the tournament. But I think losing last night, it would have been, okay, who are they beating now? Moving forward, that's going to be good enough that you go, see, this is a tournament team, because at that point they would have been 11-6, right, and 1-3 in conference play.
It should be 0-4.
Yeah, right, and could very well be staring down the barrel of 0-4. They've got Baylor on Friday, like you mentioned, and then 2 road games, Colorado and Kansas State. Teams that have had their struggles at times. Kansas State, we know about. We've watched them. Colorado only lost to Texas Tech by 2 at home. They took care of Arizona State on the road. K-State went down to Arizona State and ended up losing. So, I mean, Colorado is capable. But over these next 3 games, is it to feel good about where they're at? I think 3-0 is saying, okay, 3-0 is ignoring what we've seen the last couple of weeks to say that they go 3-0 to set up the home date on Saturday against BYU on January 31st.
Schedule really kicks in there.
Right. But is minimum 2-1? Or is it, Michael, Jack, you guys weigh in, minimum 2-1, Baylor, Colorado, Kansas State? Or, you know what, if this Kansas team is going to prove that they are a second weekend, potentially if Darren Peterson turns it on, a third weekend team, 3-0, setting up a matchup with BYU when they're 5-2 in conference play against maybe undefeated BYU at that point in conference play, maybe a loss along the way. 3-0, realistic. 2-1, more of, no, that's in line with a team that's continually getting better. And back-to-back road games on Tuesday, Saturday, one of those being late tip in Colorado, another being in Manhattan against Kansas State. That, by the way, we'll be playing that game looking at Kansas across the court the way that Kansas was looking at Iowa State across the court, saying, we have to have this game. This means more to us.
I'll be a harsh critic here. I feel you got to go 3-0. I mean, as Sterling brought up, you still have BYU, you still have Tech, you have to go to Iowa State, you have Arizona.
That's for the next 5 games.
I mean, you've got a gauntlet there. And not to make the tournament, but I believe to put yourself in that category of, oh, this can be a scary team come March. Because they need to beat Baylor. I mean, Baylor should not be that team that waltzes into Allen Fieldhouse after what you did last night and find a way to beat you. Next week is important because I don't believe to the outside world that Colorado, who's unranked, and K-State, who is unranked, would be seen as impressive wins. But we all know how K-State's going to look next Saturday. They're going to shoot 50% from 3. They're going to be able to put up north of 80 points. The place will be rocking. What will be the difference is, will KU be able to make them uncomfortable? Because K-State could be winless in conference play by that game. And I have zero doubt in my mind that will be their best showing in conference play. And credit to them. They know how to get up for that game in the same way last night KU got up for Iowa State. And if KU can win that late tip in Boulder, should be a fun environment as well, but you have the time change for those guys. And then you go into Manhattan and win. Now you're riding a 4-game winning streak. They're going to be ranked top 20 at that point. Mm-hmm. You feel better about maybe how they're progressing with Darren Peterson on the floor, and then you'll take your chances in that gauntlet. But if you go 2-1, it's not the end of the world, but that likely means you've lost to either Colorado and Boulder, which then shows you still can't win on the road, or you've lost to K-State, who's one of the worst teams in conference just by record right now, and that's not going to look great on your resume. So to me, it's got to be 3-0. If you had sprinkled in a at Texas Tech in that stretch or an at BYU, by all means, I'll take 2-1. But you've got 3 unranked teams here, and you need to make up for losing in Orlando and losing in Morgantown. I just don't know if I'm going to be that thrilled with 2-1 because that would mean, in my opinion, a loss to an unranked Colorado team who's a bubble team and an unranked K-State team who is likely not headed to March Madness again. Or a loss to Baylor. But, yeah. I mean, I give that a very low chance of happening as well.
And I agree with Jack. I think 3-0 should be the expectation, but I've also seen this team play on the road, so I think 2-1 is probably the most realistic outcome. But, I mean, it's really going to be interesting which game they drop because Kansas State, you're going to Manhattan. I get that one, but, I mean, you're kind of running out of time to prove that you're a good road team. And so they're going to have to figure it out pretty quickly. And, to answer the question, can they bring the intensity of Allen Fieldhouse on the road? I don't think they can. And I think that's okay because you're not going to come out and be able to beat teams like you did last night every single night. But they have to be better consistently at showing up with more energy and matching that defensive intensity because if you defend like you defended Iowa State last night, you're going to be able to beat a lot of teams in the conference.
And it could set up, and we'll see what happens tonight. And then on Saturday, or for K-State tonight, and then on Saturday against Oklahoma State, and then a week from last night, so against Utah, which is a home game. If K-State plays the way they did against BYU, where they lost by 10 and they had opportunities, the way they did for a few portions of the game against Arizona State where they were on the road and they lost by 3 after going to Arizona and getting trounced. If they play to that level, I can make a case that K-State, who's favored tonight against UCF, and then Oklahoma State and Utah, that it could be a 3-3 in conference play K-State team and a 4-2 if KU beats Baylor and Colorado, a 4-2 Kansas team in conference play. That now you're in Manhattan and they're going, oh, if we beat them, we've got the same record as they do in the Big 12.
Absolutely.
And we're trying to prove that we are turning this thing around. We've won 3 in a row, and we had that tough loss against Arizona State. We could have won 4 in a row now. We're going to catch fire and be a tournament team, and this is the game to catapult us to the next level, because then you've got West Virginia and then a big home date against Iowa State if you're Kansas State. It's a big 3 games for them as well leading into that Kansas game, while it's a big 3 games for Kansas leading into the BYU matchup.
And to your point, if K-State does even go 2-1 in this 3-game stretch, they're still breathing.
Yeah, they're 2-4 in conference.
You're telling me that P.J. Haggerty's not going to want to try and prove something against Darren Peterson? I mean, P.J. Haggerty was a big get for K-State. P.J. Haggerty is a stud. He is a
You're all
alpha
choked
dog.
up about it.
I'm choked up about it for some reason.
Happens to me all the time.
And I think that'd be a fun matchup. Darren Peterson, P.J. Haggerty. I mean, that to me, and maybe you guys disagree, but I feel like P.J. Haggerty against BYU was trying to prove something with DeVance on the other side. I think he's going to try and prove something against Darren Peterson. I firmly believe that. P.J. Haggerty, I think, is a great player, and he's on that echelon. And when you get to that echelon, you try and say, no, I get he's going to be a top 3 draft pick, but I'm the alpha on this court.
Also, there's no NFL or college football that day, the KU-K-State game on the 24th. It's the day before the conference championship games, and it's 7 o'clock on Fox. 7 o'clock Saturday night on Fox in Manhattan. That's a task for KU. I don't care what K-State's record is, because that's an opportunity for, as he mentioned, P.J. Haggerty, Abdi Bashir. Those players know this nationally televised against KU. Those players know that they're not watching football tonight. They're not watching it's college basketball season at that point. Pitchers and catchers haven't reported. It's the NBA and NHL, but nationally televised on Fox to the entire country is KU K-State in Manhattan. If KU goes 3-0, I think they would have earned it, even though it's lesser opponents in terms of what we've seen so far this year. But West Virginia was that as well, because I think it's going to be difficult for them. I think 2-1 is realistic. I think 3-0 to get to a position where they feel like, okay, we are a minimum second weekend team, and if we get some guys playing at a level, Darren Peterson is playing at a number 1 draft pick potential level, we're a third weekend team and could be talking about Indianapolis. A lot of those things have to come together, but the next 3 games are pretty crucial. I just think take care of business the next 2 to set up what is that trip to Kansas State and then a home date to BYU.
Yeah, and I believe the last couple of times they've rolled into Manhattan, they've not been playing great basketball. I know last year they were really limping at that point, and K-State was red hot. They had knocked off a couple of top 25 teams like Arizona. They had beaten somebody too. I can't remember if it was Iowa State or somebody, and then they beat KU pretty soundly. And you just always have to treat that game like it's been the last couple of years. It's going to be close regardless of these teams' records. You can make the excuse of, well, if K-State loses tonight to UCF and they lose in Stillwater and then they beat Utah, nobody's feeling great about 1-5. No, they'll be ready to go for that game. That's just always been the theme in Manhattan. There's been very few years KU prior to or I guess I should say after 2008 when they broke the streak with Michael Beasley's team, where they've just gone in there and erased Kansas State, where that game is over by halftime. Very few times that's happened because whoever the coach is, Bruce Weber, Jerome Tang, Frank Martin, those guys know how big that game against KU is. And for this Kansas State team, they have one signature win to date, and that's Creighton. They're running out of those opportunities.
And that's an 11-5 Creighton team.
Yeah, they're really going to need, even if they beat their next 3 opponents in UCF, Oklahoma State on the road, and then Utah, you're going to need that boosting win because they still have a lot of tough games down the road where you don't expect them to win. But if you rattle off 4 in a row, that puts you at 13-7, I believe, and you'd have a 500 or one game above 500.
4-3 in conference.
4-3.
Yeah.
And in the toughest conference, or at least if you want to make the case for the SEC, the second toughest conference in college basketball, that puts you on the bubble, I feel. But right now, they are firmly out of it, and they're going to need to catch up rather quickly.
I think it might be a conversation for a different time. I think the Big 12 has shown in the non-conference and what they've done that they're probably the best conference this year.
Yeah, SEC did not do a great job in the non-con.
If we're going to credit the SEC last year for what they did in the non-con and all the wins they had and the winning percentage against the other conferences, then we can't then this year go, but the Big 12 did that, but I still think we want to go with the I think the Big 12 is showing that they are a really difficult gauntlet for teams to go through, which in some years you would say it's a great news because, like, for example, a team like K-State, you got opportunities to get wins, but there isn't an off night, really. I mean, the off night is maybe Utah at home. And, boy, you want to talk about a trap game. I mean, that's Saturday you play at Oklahoma State, then you return home for Utah when your next game is Kansas. I mean, it's like I don't think they better not lose that game, or there's some obviously bigger issues going on. But you got a tough stretch going through the Big 12, and you've got to start rattling off some wins, whereas KU has to reach the level they reached last night. It's going to be difficult to repeat that performance, but some percentage of that level on the road and not feel like you're kind of just going through the motions at times against West Virginia, where you have a 5-minute stretch that you give up a 16-0 run to West Virginia. And it's like, dude, I mean, do you guys just want to be out there or not?
How many open threes do we think Kansas gave up last night compared to the previous two games against TCU?
There were a few of them that were missed early for Iowa State.
There were a couple. I think Lipsy had the most. Yeah. He missed, I think, basically every single one.
Yeah.
But some were off of like a long rebound or something. But it wasn't just a consistent corner three, right? It wasn't just a wide open corner three that it felt like
TCU and West Virginia were getting. Yep, and especially in their stretches where TCU went on their 18-1 run, and then West Virginia went on their 16-0 run. It was like they did anything they wanted.
Yeah.
And KU was just like, should we play defense or – I mean, if they score quickly, we can get the ball back and go play offense, right? I mean, the quicker they score, the quicker we get the ball back, right?
Okay. If Flory gets in foul trouble, what does Kansas do? We talked. I said Kansas has a group of seven. The issue is they have no backup because Bryson Tiller's the foul trouble guy. Typically,
so both of them get in foul trouble, or
but mostly Flory. But mostly Flory. Let's say Flory gets in foul trouble. What happens?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather KU just go with a smaller lineup. It's what's made Trey White so valuable. I mean, he's been great offensively this year, but to put him in there as your stretch four, if you will, I mean, that means Bryson Tiller's going to have to play smart. Which in Morgantown, both those guys got in foul trouble, and they're incredibly young. Bryson Tiller is an incredibly young player. Flory, even though it's his second year, I mean, he's still 19 years old, 20 years old. But, man, against those teams like Houston, BYU, they exploit that early. You can't really play small. That's their choice. I mean, the emergency, break glass in case of emergency, it's Paul Mbia because he's their only other big they can throw out there. And that's your third-string center at that point. So I would say that you're just trying everything you can to not get one of those guys in foul trouble within the first 4 minutes of the game. That would be my pick, though, is that you move Tiller to the 5, you put Trey White at the 4 on the off chance both those guys are in foul trouble. I mean, you might throw Trey White out there at the 5 and go incredibly small and have Elmarco Jackson out there and just bump everybody up a spot where I guess that makes Darren Peterson the 4, which is not where you'd want to be for sure. That has to change, though. If this team wants to be good defensively, you can't have two bigs that are constantly up in the air. I mean, Flory Badunga is 6'8", 6'9". He's not 7'1", where you can stay grounded and alter a shot, which is why he jumps so much. But guys are going to get you up in the air flailing. He always comes down with his arms. Smart teams are going to expose that, and even West Virginia, who I don't believe is one of the best teams in this conference, they exploited that over and over and over again.
Yeah, what we've seen so far is when Flory's been on the bench, it has been Bryson Tiller and Trey White at the 5 and the 4, and then it's Council, Elmarco, and then either McDowell or Darren Peterson if he's in the game. So, I mean, when Tiller's in there, Trey White's the 4. So we've seen that. If Flory's on the bench, Trey White's the 4, which gives him that versatility, which shows you how important Trey White is to the team, not just that, hey, he hit some threes last night. No, he offers some different things that Bill Self can do, because if Trey White gets in foul trouble and Flory's in foul trouble, then you're talking about you losing that versatility. Now Darren Peterson at the 4 maybe, which I don't know that you want to go that route when he's got, the cramping and different things going on. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next.
FanDuel is turning on playoff mode. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you right there in the app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. Pick the matchups you believe in, whether that's the favorite, a shot on an upset, or build a parlay. It is your choice. I'm telling you, I'm rocking with Buffalo. I know Denver's at home. I get that. I do not trust Bo Nix. I do trust Josh Allen. I think I'm going to go under. If you're doing a little parlay here, under Josh Allen pass yards. He's been a little banged up, a little injured. I think they're going to try and lean on James Cook. Under Bo Nix pass yards as well. Couple that with the Bills outright. That is the little tasty parlay that I am rocking with. And then you apply your profit boost and you go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So what you need to do is visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
21 plus in President Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Jack heading to Wichita. Quick drive for him. Quick walk.
He drives so fast.
He's the only person I know that walks to Wichita. Constantly. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we have him in, then he walks to Wichita. It's crazy how he does that. Missouri with a big one tonight against Auburn. Apparently now 1.5 dogs after 2 hours ago being 1.5 favorites over Auburn. That thing changed 3 points. When I put that on the format at, I think, 9:15, they were 1.5 favorites.
I don't know what to make of Auburn. because like you lose at Georgia in overtime, and Georgia's a pretty solid team. They're not great, but they're a ranked-ish team.
Yeah.
You lose to A&M by 2 at home. All right. Then you blow out Arkansas.
Destroy Arkansas.
I don't know what to make of Auburn. Obviously, they've been a good team under Bruce Pearl, but now under Little Pearl.
Yeah.
Is there growing pains? Is there? I mean, Hall's been incredible. Hall is is a hell of a player. I just don't know what. And then Pettiford, obviously. So you have
right.
I don't know what to make of this Auburn team at all.
Yeah, Hall's a guy that you bring on from UCF that shooting almost 50% from behind the arc as a guy who's 6'7", 240.
Mark Mitchell,
I assume, he'd be guarding him.
Yes.
I mean, Mark Mitchell's 6'9", 230, 235. Maybe one of the guys in the SEC that can hang with Keyshawn Hall.
You hope.
You would hope, exactly. That's the thing. You would hope that he would do that.
On paper, that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Unless you try and go with a guy to try and create some havoc, which would be Boateng off the bench. You know, a very lengthy, stocky guy who can cause issues but can't score.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to put him out there. It's a massive one tonight for Mizzou as well. Cynthia Freeland next.
She's done the research.
I measured the big boys' booties for like 2 years.
She's analyzed the data.
If you can keep that big booty down, like if you are a big boy, if you're very tall and you can keep your booty down low, then you are far more successful.
She's crunched the numbers, and the results are clear.
The back of booty isn't as good, as it turns out.
If she picks a dog, she'll have the math to back it up.
It's not like Travis Kelce is done. My dog is very excited about this, just so you know.
It's Cynthia Freeland of NFL Network. Now in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. An hour from now, we'll talk with Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Covers the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL and the draft and all of those things weekly at noon on Wednesday with Daniel. Weekly 11 o'clock on Wednesday with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert, joining us here in the zone. Cynthia, how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. How are you doing?
I am doing just fine. This was just a great weekend of football where we had, 8 games, where 5 of the 8 came down to the final couple of minutes of the game. Indiana dominating Oregon, and you had the Texans taking care of the Steelers and the Patriots and the Chargers. But other than that, we had a dynamite Miami game on Thursday night, and then the NFC games on Saturday, the 2 games on Sunday. I mean, I don't know, maybe it's just recency bias, but it's one of the more enjoyable wild card weekends that I can remember with the drama. And not every close game equals good game, right? But what felt like the drama and big plays that were made to get wins, I would just, sitting back and just watching the football was a joy. Yeah, it was definitely, people, I argue that, everyone says divisional round weekend's better, and I'm like, I don't think so. Wild card, it's really, because then you still know you have the divisional waiting for you. So, I thought it, obviously lived up to its billing in the NFL, and then of course with the championship, with how the bowls are structured now, that was fun too. So I think we're all very lucky. Yeah, and now we got 3 more days of elimination games starting on Saturday, Sunday, and then the national championship game on Monday for the college football playoff. So I do like how it's structured and leading in to some of these things. Let's talk about what we saw over the weekend and how it relates moving forward for the playoffs, and a team that I want to talk about because there's a lot of interest around here in Bills and Broncos for obvious reasons. I think most people don't want to see the Broncos win around here, while, Really? That's the way it goes? Not Bills? You're not going to be like, ugh, Bills. Oh, no. You'd rather hate the Broncos? Okay, I think in the AFC West, I know that around here it's like Raider hater and you hate the Raiders, but for me, the team I've hated in the AFC West the most has been the Denver Broncos. And all right. It's just interesting because, no one's really competed with y'all in so long. I know. It's hard to figure out who to hate. I know, right? But I think there's a general, I think the difference between Broncos and Chiefs and maybe Chiefs and Bengals is I find to be from, Chiefs fans a general, maybe more of a respect for Josh Allen and this dude's awesome, and I like Josh Allen, and if he wins a Super Bowl, I'd be fine with that. I just don't want the Broncos and Sean Payton and those guys to win the Super Bowl. But the Bills go to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville was my pick out of the AFC because I thought they were playing the best football, and the toughest matchup for me for the Jags was the Bills. They couldn't find a way to get it done. Moving forward, though, Cynthia, what I find to be really interesting about this Bills team to play the Broncos and then either the Patriots or the Texans is that the Bills have spent the last few years building a defense to stop 2 teams that didn't even make the playoffs in the Bengals and the Chiefs. And Sean McDermott had himself an awesome game scheme-wise against the Jags. I think he deserves a lot of credit for that, even though he doesn't get some credit for different things. Are the Bills defensively good enough, equipped enough to beat 2 of the Broncos and either the Patriots or the Texans when that defense is, no, we're here to stop the passing and spread teams? I don't know. That's the question. The reality for me when I look at this is you have to say, is the Bills defense
plus some of the guys they got back, so they're getting Ed Oliver back, minus the potential for, now we know Tyrell Shavers isn't there, so now you're down another. So it's like you have to add up both sides, right? We know Josh Allen's the best quarterback left. There's no, I don't think anyone would debate that, right? But the other pieces around him is the O-line plus the run game plus Josh Allen's arm minus the receivers. Like, is that going to get you past these defenses? Because all of those teams that you talk about, I'm less concerned about the Bills' defense than I am about the Bills' offense being able to overcome those defenses, given that their defense is missing pieces, if that makes sense.
No, that absolutely, that totally makes sense. I just, to me, like the Jags-Bills matchup as to why I liked, why I think the Jags and sort of beating that team, like, the Bills' defense, how many teams are going to go up against that are as heavy run that the Jags want to run the ball and run the ball a little bit more and then use Trevor Lawrence from time to time, and Brian Thomas has been better, but certainly Jacoby Myers and Parker Washington. Like, I liked what I saw from the Jags and how they play defense, but I don't know that there's another team that runs it as well as the Jags to exploit the defense for the Bills. It's one of the reasons why I like the matchup this weekend for the Bills, is because while Sean Payton likes to run the football and they had Chubb and Harvey's not the guy I think maybe even the Broncos thought they were getting as a rookie, that it's not necessarily an offense that's going to be dynamic enough with weapons all over the place and also will run it at any given time to exploit the smaller defense that the Bills have. So I like that the Bills against the Broncos don't have the disadvantage defensively that I think they had against the Jags.
That's right.
But also the next question would be, what does Bo Nix need to do in this game? Does he have to play at a high level, or can he just C.J. Stroud it and try not to lose the game, even though Stroud didn't necessarily do that, but try not to lose the game.
I don't know if I don't think he can C.J. Stroud it and still win, but I think
good
he
example.
can use the screen passes that we saw in the beginning of the season. I don't think they used up their allotment of, unfortunately for the Broncos, there's no, they didn't run out. There's still screen passes because otherwise, they certainly threw all the screen passes to begin the season. But that's to me, the Bo Nix of it all here is that he seems to do a good job of not, Sean Payton said ahead of the season, and I'm sure Chiefs fans love hearing this, that in the preseason, he said, I heard it with my own ears, that if the team with this defense, if the offense can just not allow their quarterback to take sacks, so Bo Nix cannot take the sack, and if the O-line can be strong enough to not put him in a position where he doesn't have the choice, that this team can go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. That is what he said. He said it in August, and everyone was like, you're crazy. And now I think that's very true. If Bo Nix doesn't turn the ball over, and if Bo Nix allows his defense to do the thing we've seen the defense do, I don't think they turn the ball over. I don't think they lose the game, even though the Bills are favored. The Bills, the Bills are on short week. They're missing pieces, and sure they get Ed Oliver back, but I don't know. Between the screen game, which approximates a run, and the fact that the Bills' defense doesn't really like to stop the run, as good as they are against the pass, do they even need to be? Is that surplus? Is it surplus value on their Bills' defense with the pass game? I don't know.
It's interesting looking at it that way. Because this matchup, we've seen the Chiefs go into games on the road, and it's like, well, they don't have the better team, but they have 15, and the Bills don't have the better team, but they have Josh Allen, and Josh Allen.
The Bills' defense is nowhere near like Chris Jones, the Trent McDuffie. Like, the Bills' defense does not feel like a Chief. Like, sure, you can say, on the offense, they're missing all these pieces, blah, blah, blah. You still got 15 to figure it out, sure. But then the defense has really backed everything up for many years.
And I think that's a good point because, in my mind, when I'm thinking of the Chiefs and going on the road and saying, okay, they're going up against a team that might be a better team, but they've got 15, when they went to Buffalo and won in the divisional round and then went to Baltimore and won in the AFC Championship game, they faced one of the toughest, if not the toughest stretches in DVOA of Miami and Buffalo and Baltimore and then the 49ers. But it's a good point in that the way the defense played in those games, especially against the Ravens, although against the Bills, for whatever reason, Mahomes sees the Buffalo Bills and it's like a bull seeing red. He just goes out there and he plays some of the best football he's ever played. And that's what happened in the AFC Championship game last night or last year for them to beat the Bills, Mahomes played one of his best games. And I wonder, Cynthia, does Josh Allen have to be that? Can Josh Allen be good Josh Allen and go to Denver and win, or does Josh Allen have to be MVP Josh Allen to walk out with a victory in Denver?
I think he has to be MVP Josh Allen, and not because I love his O-line. I think that's very helpful. James Cook, obviously leading the league in rushing yards in the regular season, great, also very helpful. But now you're down another wide receiver, and you asked Brandon Cooks to do a lot in that last game.
Yeah.
That was an interesting addition and wrinkle and fold that they were able to add. You're asking your tight ends to do a lot. I'm looking at that and I'm saying at some point, just like I feel about the Niners, I don't know if we've reached that point yet. But you said, but listen to the teams that would be remaining, right? You have the Broncos, and then you have either the Pats, who they've lost to already, and they've also beaten, and then you have the defense that made a four-time MVP look like a ragdoll in the Texans. So it's not an easy slog.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. That's a good transition for the next question I have as we're looking at the AFC. Can the Texans ride that defense for the next 2 weeks to win the Lamar Hunt Trophy and head to San Francisco representing the AFC? Is the defense that good that it can carry them to 2 more wins?
Again, yes, the defense. It's not going to be on the defense.
Yeah.
What C.J. Stroud needs to do to win is to not play hero ball. When he's trying to make something happen to Christian Kirk downfield, it worked in this game against the Steelers because the Steelers secondary, if Joey Porter Jr. isn't holding you, it doesn't seem like he can get the same kind of, I don't mean to be harsh, but yeah. But ultimately, that's a little different than what you're going to face in the Patriots. If Christian Gonzalez is good to go, then that will help mitigate Nico Collins being out. But C.J. Stroud needs to take the check down. C.J. Stroud needs to make the second and third read and be okay with that. And that's where, if that's the case, if they can do that, then yes, the defense is strong enough to carry. They don't actually need C.J. Stroud to play hero ball at all.
I do wonder if this week we'll see more of that, not hero ball, but more of that from C.J. Stroud. Like, he's got to go to the film and see the interception that he threw inside the 10-yard line, that if he just immediately hits Woody Marks out of the backfield, there's nobody there. And he may score a touchdown, let alone get a first down and put him in position to score. Instead, he ignored him, then had to scramble, then threw late and behind the receiver, and it was an interception from C.J. Stroud. I think he played as poorly.
You're not going to get that against the Pats. They're far more. They're not. Yeah. The Patriots are not going to do that.
Yeah, right. I agree with that.
They are not.
I think C.J. Stroud played such a terrible game that I can't imagine he would do it back-to-back weeks. And I don't expect him to come out and look amazing. I just don't think he'll be a guy that if they lose, it'll be, well, C.J. Stroud was like a double agent in this one. Like, he seemed like he was wearing a Patriots uniform or something like that. We'll find out. I love watching the Texans play defense, Cynthia, because there's something about a defense that's just like, we don't really have to be overly disguising what we're doing. Like, we don't have to then trick you all over the place. We're just going to be physical, run to the football, and beat you up. And there's something that, it feels like the exact opposite of Steve Spagnuolo that's going to we're going to play a chess game against you. And the Texans are like, we're just going to say.
The Texans don't disguise anything. I mean, they're not using any simulated pressures. They're not using any of the they're just like, we just have better players than you. Enjoy.
Right.
Yes. Truly.
Good luck.
Enjoy that. Have fun. Have fun with that.
Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just kind of, I'm like, you're like, all right, I was really happy. I don't know if you know the story about Sheldon Rankins, who had that first pick six, the big guy in the middle. Mm-hmm. Sheldon Rankins has been on a number of teams. He was a first-round pick by the Saints a long time ago. Came out of Louisville. He had an Achilles tear, and then he had another one. And then last year, he actually played for the Bengals and he was hospitalized with, an internal organ situation. I don't even know which organ. Clearly one that could heal. But he was not in a good spot. And now this year he's played every single snap. And I think that, I don't know, I love a good comeback story. Mm-hmm. And that to me is, an unsung comeback story to have a pick six against Aaron Rodgers in the biggest of moments after going through all that adversity and fighting through just some it's a good story.
Yeah,
he's a great story.
I covered Sheldon Rankins when he was at
Louisville. There you
go. So I've rooted for him as he's gone through, and he was one of the guys that I was wanting the Chiefs to take a look at as a low-cost bounce-back potential defensive lineman to come in and help them. They went Tillery, whatever. That's certainly a choice that someone can make.
Well, in fairness, this is the first year he's been healthy the whole time. So, I mean, I understand the reasoning. I just, like I said, I love a good comeback story, so I hope people know that story a little more.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that certainly I talked about in the offseason when it was free agency, and I'm like, you're going to give him a contract that may also have some incentives tied into it, and there's a chance that he doesn't reach that potential, but if he does, you're getting a bargain. And the Texans are getting that bargain, so good for them, and I certainly root for Sheldon Rankins. And I thought it was awesome. And by the way, he deserved the touchdown because he just tossed the guard back to Aaron Rodgers and then leapt over the laying guard on his back.
That guard had no shot.
I mean,
absolutely no shot.
It was unbelievable to watch. It was like he was going up against a college kid, just knocked him on his butt and then leapt over him to Aaron Rodgers to help knock the football out, and then he got it and scored. That was great.
That was hilarious.
Visiting with Cynthia Freeland. Is it too simple to say Seattle's the 1 seed? They go to the Super Bowl, and that home field advantage is that good? What are the other things that we may look at for the Seahawks and say they went to the Super Bowl, but here's why. It wasn't just they were playing at home and they were the 1 seed.
Well, I don't know if I think they're a team that benefits from the bye. I think that, to me, with, a quarterback who, he's not – Matthew Stafford would benefit from a bye because who cares? He's seen everything, played in every sort of pressure situation. He's been there, done it, at the highest level. He's already won a Super Bowl. Okay. But all these other younger guys, and Sam Darnold, who doesn't have that deep playoff experience, I think that maybe the rest could be a little scary. However, I'm asterisking that with the fact that now they get the Niners, who they've played, this is the third time, obviously they know very well, and they get the Niners without George Kittle. Eek. That could burn off the rust a little bit, right? Yeah. Rust versus rest, whatever. So ultimately, I'm looking at that and thinking that is their advantage that gets them the best opportunity to go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, because as much as I think Matthew Stafford's going to go in there and beat the pants off of the Bears, there's always that risk that we've seen the Bears do some improbable things with these. We talk about turnovers being a fickle beast, right? And Matthew Stafford, if they can turn him over, that's been the key to beating him. And I don't think that'll happen. In fact, I strongly don't think that'll happen. But I think the Rams having to go on the road, and then the third matchup with the Seahawks in the situation where the Seahawks now get to sit back and they didn't have to play anyone new during the playoffs. Think about it like that.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't have to prepare for anyone new. I think that's a massive advantage.
Yeah, because they would then play, obviously the 49ers twice.
Yep.
And then they would have already played the Rams twice if the Rams go and beat Chicago. Yep. That is a really interesting point. One thing that I wanted to ask you about with the Chiefs, and, we're watching the Houston Texans just terrorize Aaron Rodgers, and that was elder abuse. I do think there should have been a police report filed for that. That was wrong. But we watch them do that, and what I find so impressive is we talked about that Houston doesn't disguise things; they just come and kick your butt. And Spags is very much about being diverse and disguising a bunch of different things. But the Chiefs team, Spags talks about pressure a lot. And I think I would like him to talk about actually getting a sack on a quarterback a lot more. But they were 15th in pressure rate this year. They were 22nd in sacks. Yep. Last year they were 5th in pressure rate and 18th in sacks. 2023 they were 2nd in pressure rate and 2nd in sacks with 57 in 2023. They've had 74 since then. Is it teams adjusting? Is it personnel? Is it Chris Jones getting older? I don't know. They're still pressuring the quarterback at a higher rate, comparatively speaking, to other teams in terms of where they're relating in sacks. Why the last 2 years they're pressuring the quarterback, they're not bringing them down, whereas the previous couple of years they were pressuring and also getting the sacks? I mean,
we've now seen quarterbacks be increasingly mobile. So sacks are now. I think one of the things I'm looking at is, sacks are these things that are fickle, and if you have a quick sack like how fast Myles Garrett was able to get sacks on people, that's a real sack. Whereas now you're having coverage sacks, right? Like you're starting to see an increase in, you're seeing more safeties with sacks, like Jalen Petrie, for example.
Oh, yeah.
All of these different things. So I think part of it is, that it's just a little bit more about how the game is evolving and how fast quarterbacks are getting the ball out of their hands. I mean, that's part of why Aaron Rodgers is so hard to sack, right? Because typically he's getting the ball out of his hands extremely fast, faster than we've seen. So, we don't really have time to make that happen.
Yeah. One more for you, and then I'll get your prediction on who's going to play in the Super Bowl and maybe win now that we've got the buys taken care of and everything. How much are turnovers noise or repeatable? Because this team, generating turnovers would be awesome. But, in 2023, they ranked 27th in turnovers. Last year, they were actually 14th, or 2024, they were 14th. This past year, they were 26th in total takeaways. We talk about sacks, but the high level of sacks in 2023 didn't correlate to turnovers because they ranked 27th in turnovers, number 2 in sacks. Is this all noise, and it's not something that's repeatable? Is there something more to the Chiefs and Steve Spagnuolo and their inability to take the ball away from the other team, for the last 3 years?
I think the Bears are a good example of the opposite of that, because the Bears are getting no pressure. They're bottom 5 in the league in pressure. So you're getting all these turnovers without any sacks. So you're dropping more guys back in coverage. Okay, sure. So it's correlated to your blitz rate, and it's also correlated to how many people are throwing what kind of pass against you. If you're facing a bunch of screen passes, it's almost not like you have to throw out that data as being the same as if you're facing a whole bunch of intermediate passes. So I think part of it is, I just think what happened with this defense this year is they didn't, usually you see this hockey stick production level for the Chiefs defense, let's call it starting October 15th, right, mid-October, and they just start to get more and more and more and more and more efficient as it goes. That never happened this year. Be it through injury, be it through whatever happened, it didn't happen. So that's the thing that I find very fascinating.
Yeah. It's always funny. It's turnovers are noise and it's not really repeatable. It's the Chiefs are repeating and not getting them. So it's somewhat repeatable for the Chiefs. Just the wrong way.
You're not getting them. The fact that the Jets had none, that's crazy, right? So to me, it's you want more. You want them to be more reliable. Well, unfortunately, that's not. I know it seems like it because of what we're seeing from the Bears, but it's not really easy to have that replicated. Yeah. There is luck involved in there. Now, not all of them are luck, but not all of them are unlucky too, right? It's you have to go through each one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Cynthia Freeland is our guest, NFL Network analytics expert. All right, who do you got in the Super Bowl as we get ready for the divisional round? We don't have to incorporate a couple of teams on a bye and changing sort of the math from that standpoint. Everybody will play the same number of games moving forward.
Yes.
So who do you have in the Super Bowl, and who do you have right now coming out on top?
Well, this weekend I have coming out on top the Seahawks. That one feels, like I told you before about the injuries with the Niners. It feels like they've just finally reached that tipping point, but we've been wrong about the Niners saying that before.
Yeah.
I also have the Rams coming out in that one, and then ultimately the Seahawks going to the Super Bowl. On the other side, I do have the Patriots because of Drake May just being better than C.J. Stroud and playing better than C.J. Stroud. I have the Patriots coming out against I do have the Broncos. And then it sounds so cliche, but I still have the Broncos and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl.
All right, rematch of.
I would like to have I would like to see the Texans, but it'd be fun to see Texans and Seahawks at this point. I'm a Lions fan. I can't say I want the Bears to go. So I just can't. I just can't do it. So I want to see different people. I did not go to that first matchup, so it would be a different Super Bowl for me if no matter kind of what happens here.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Unless it's the Rams, they've been.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Texans going because that means that the Pats, the Broncos, and Bills didn't go. But if the Broncos do go against Seattle, I would appreciate a repeat of that
happened before.
The dominant performance by Seattle, and one of the first plays being a safety. I'd appreciate that.
One of the first plays being a safety. I mean, that's always like something like oh my gosh, that's 1,000 or 10,000 to 1 odds. You're like, oh, someone got happy because of that.
Why didn't I place money on the first score being a safety? That would have been so smart. Dang it. Cynthia Freeland, also so smart, NFL Network analytics expert. Cynthia, enjoy the weekend of football, and we will talk next week when we know what that conference championship matchup will be on either side. Thank you so much.
Sounds great. Have a great week.
Yes, you too. There's Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. Seattle, Denver coming out on top this weekend and next weekend. She's got a matchup of Seahawks, Rams, Patriots, Broncos. Did the Broncos open up as dogs? Because they're favorites now, but I didn't check when the line first came out.
Check that.
Because when the Bills won, we knew the Broncos and Bills were playing.
Correct.
Well, excuse me, after the Patriots won. Sorry about that. Patriots won, so didn't matter Steelers and Texans. We knew it was going to be Broncos and Bills. But I don't remember what the opening line was because the Broncos are now 1.5 favorites.
Yeah, I see the Broncos opened up as 1.5 favorites.
Okay.
But I thought at one point the Bills were 1.5 favorites. Unless I'm just...
Yeah, so that means every home team is a favorite except the Bears? Because the Bears are almost 4-point dogs at home to the Rams. I think Vegas is saying the 25-point fourth quarter, a little fluky.
Yeah.
Little fluky, and the Rams aren't as fluky.
Yeah, I thought the Bills at one point were the favorites, and it looks like that has now switched back. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know your thoughts on this.
But at DraftKings, if you get the Broncos minus 1.5, that's at plus 100. Getting them at minus 1.5. So, I mean, if you think they're going to win, I mean, you can get plus odds on that. Whereas the Bills getting 1.5 is minus 120. I mean, so Vegas is saying, okay, if you want to put your points on the Bills, you're not really getting much value out of that.
Yeah,
or
money line's basically straight up.
Yeah, it's pretty close from that standpoint. So, yeah, I think the 49ers are just too beaten up. And now George Kittle. I know they opened the window for Fred Warner, but that feels like we've opened the window for Fred Warner if we're playing a home game in San Francisco for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Then Fred Warner might be able to play.
The Willis Reed.
Yeah. But not this weekend against the Seattle Seahawks that are such a good, solid, well-coached, tough physical team playing at home with the 12th man.
But
was it a Colt Classic?
We've seen Sam Darnold.
Yes, true. But
struggling big months.
Right, but does Sam Darnold need to be relied upon in this game?
No, but you can't pull a C.J. Stroud.
Yeah. Like, does Bo Nix... You can't do that, right. Does Bo Nix need to be relied upon in this game with the Buffalo Bills? Or is it, Bo, don't be dumb because Josh has to wear his cape for 4 quarters to beat us?
Yes and no. I think Bo Nix does have to do a little bit in this game. I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game. I think the Bills will have to rely on James Cook and some of the run game because Josh is banged up. But Josh will make a lot of plays. We know that. Bo Nix will have to make a couple. And it's not just as simple as don't turn the ball over. If you play that way, I think you lose that game.
Yeah. You lose that battle.
9 times out of 10.
9 times out of 10, you lose
that battle.
That didn't go the way you thought it did. You thought it was going to go. That didn't go the way you thought it was going to go, did you? Did it? All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. You mentioned James Cook. I want to get into this. I saw this on the X, on Twitter yesterday, and with Shavers going on the IR for the Bills. Mm-hmm. There was this commentary amongst Bills fans and then Chiefs fans and sort of a back and forth. And it started with a post that said, if Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl with this group of weapons, he's the greatest of all time and there is no debate. Okay, well, that's stupid because there's always going to be a debate. And it would be one Super Bowl versus right now the GOAT having 7.
Was it best Super Bowl? Was it the greatest of all time or the greatest run?
No, it'd be like he's the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah, that's dumb. That's not even. If you said greatest run, I will.
Which also would be wrong because of what the Chiefs did.
Correct.
But I want to talk about that because when people discuss weapons, they're looking at the wide receiver core in Buffalo and saying, here are the wide receivers he's throwing to. then the Chiefs fans reply and say, well, here's what Mahomes did in 2022 against the Eagles. Then the reply is, Kelsey? Although the original goalpost, when it was set in stone, it was wide receivers. Then they mentioned Kelsey, so they moved it. So Kincaid and Knox don't count as weapons. But the biggest dispute I have with that is, why do we not view the leading rusher in the NFL this year as a weapon that helps Josh Allen? We'll talk about why that is the case and how he specifically helps Josh Allen versus the Chiefs' run game, how it is specifically making life more difficult for Patrick Mahomes. We'll do that next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Thank you to Cynthia Freeland, NFL Network analytics expert. She does say that if the Bills are going to go to Denver and win, it will require Josh Allen to be MVP Josh Allen to go and make those plays. And you know what? Then do it. Then do it.
He did against the Jags.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to overcome those things. You've got to overcome the different elements that are thrown your way if you are going to be viewed as one of, if not the best quarterbacks in the NFL. And we talked about the excuse or the conversation around Justin Herbert and being pressured as often as he was in that game. And hearing the commentary of, oh, well, Justin Herbert doesn't have an offensive line and is terrorized by a defense, and it's a knock on Justin Herbert. Mahomes has that, and it's an excuse for Patrick Mahomes. And my point being, yeah, we're talking about those offensive line in the Super Bowl. Yeah. That same offensive line played the previous 2 weeks. By the way, that same offensive line played against the Texans in the divisional round that Mahomes had to overcome. And against the Bills in the AFC Championship game that Mahomes had to overcome. So it's not viewed as an excuse in the wild card round. It wouldn't have been viewed as an excuse in the wild card round.
No.
If he lost, it would have been, see, Mahomes washed. He lost in the wild card round. So we mentioned that about this absurd continual comparison that goes on with Mahomes and anybody else. And yesterday this conversation was going on about, once Shavers went on the IR, that who the Buffalo Bills have to throw the football to. It's Brandon Cooks, it's Keon Coleman, Kincaid and Knox, and guys like that.
Khalil Shakur,
yeah.
It's not great, but... Yeah.
But you've got Brandon Cooks, Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, that's been a healthy scratch, but he played last week. And then you've got Kincaid, who was a first-round draft pick, and Dawson Knox as tight ends. And then you offer up, okay, well, remember, Patrick Mahomes won the AFC Championship game against the Bengals in 2022 with the wide receivers in the second half being MVS, Marcus Kemp, and Sky Moore. Because Juju got hurt and McCole got hurt. Like, they played that second half. Marcus Kemp with 22 plays in the second half and made some catches. MVS was the number one by a wide margin, the number one wide receiver there. And Kadarius Toney got injured. He played 4 snaps. McCole Hardman got injured early in the game because he was dealing with the hernia, and he tried to play through it, and caught the ball, and that was it.
Yeah.
And left the game, and that was the season for McCole Hardman. Juju hurts his knee. So Mahomes had to overcome that in the second half against the Bengals. A damn good team that just went to Buffalo the week before and won, and was the reigning AFC champions and went to the Super Bowl the year before. So you do that. You overcome those things when you are faced with adversity if you are a great quarterback. Brady has had to overcome those things at times. Montana overcoming those things at times, I would assume, if we're looking at the all-time greats. Josh Allen has constantly been given the benefit of the doubt in losses. Somehow Josh Allen losing to the Chiefs is viewed as a better accomplishment because of how he played than Patrick Mahomes actually beating the Bills because of how he played. This is a thing that we've seen that has taken place over the years.
Sure.
We hear this year a quarterback struggle and somebody bring that, like if Josh Allen struggles against the Broncos, Bills fans will say 2 things. 1, look at his weapons, and 2, Mahomes isn't even playing, so why don't you shut up? Which is great because it takes away any argument that people have against Mahomes and his performances against the Bucs and the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Because, well, your guy wasn't even making it. Like, that's the thing. It's like Mahomes playing the way he did against the Buffalo Bills in getting to the Super Bowl last year. We've talked about it, how great it was. And then he didn't play well in the Super Bowl. But we ignore, because Tom Brady in Super Bowls, we ignore how god-awful Tom Brady was against the Baltimore Ravens in 2015 in the AFC Championship game when the Broncos went on to win the Super Bowl. how terrible Tom Brady was in that game.
Because they didn't make it
They
to
didn't
the Super Bowl.
make it to the Super Bowl. It was better for Tom Brady to lose the AFC Championship game to the Ravens and play like trash than win and then get beat up and beat around in the Super Bowl.
I make this argument all the time with Jordan. This is not a Jordan-LeBron debate, by the way. I think that's a losing argument for everyone involved.
Nobody's ever had that argument in debate. Why don't we talk more Jordan
Should we do
versus
it right
LeBron?
now?
I don't understand. Why aren't we talking GOATs like that? Go ahead.
But my pet peeve when folks say 6-0, it just basically says that, okay, yeah, that's great. 6-0 is phenomenal.
Yes.
But you're also saying that anything he did does not matter. Anytime he lost first round, second round, that does not count. Well, isn't it better to make it to the finals and lose than to not make it at all?
It's better to have loved and lost.
Again, this is not a LeBron Jordan argument because I just think, again, no one wins in that conversation, especially not the listener. So,
it's true. I like that.
Again, I don't know why that it's used as a negative when you carry your team to a Super Bowl and lose. If Patrick would have lost first round, does that somehow make it better? Like, I've never understood that argument. And if the Bills happen to make this Super Bowl, and let's just say that it becomes too much and they get waxed by, let's say, the Rams, right? Let's say they lose 40-20. I'm not going to hold that against Josh Allen and the Bills. I will say, wow, that is impressive. They made it that far with the amount of injuries and lack of wide receivers that they had. I will say, wow, what a performance. I don't understand why anytime you have to bring someone and tear someone down to make your point better, that to me, if you have to do that, then you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Then you're not using it in good faith. You're saying what you're saying is, my guy, I don't have an argument. I'm losing this argument, so now I'm going to try and tear your guy down to make my guy look better. If you have to do that, then that's just a losing argument to begin with.
Yeah, Mahomes faked an injury because he was so good on the one ankle against the Bengals and the Eagles. It must be that he's faking the injury because we couldn't possibly say this guy toughed it out and played through that. While Josh Allen is a tough son of a gun and is playing through all these injuries, I don't think Josh Allen is faking the knee or the foot or the finger. I don't think he's doing that. I think he's a tough as hell, tough as nails quarterback.
Does he flop sometimes? Sure, but he's not
other
faking.
Quarterbacks do too.
He's not faking the injury. I mean, Reggie Miller flopped, and he's one of my favorite basketball players of all time.
Michael Jordan flopped. LeBron flopped. Everybody flopped at certain
he's
times.
He's called LaFlop.
Right, and Jordan got away with it because we didn't have Twitter back then. But Mahomes has done that. People will constantly go to the Texans game.
It's part of the game. It's not soccer where you have to lay on the field for 9 minutes and do that. But yes, in a given play, you'll see it everywhere. If you play pickup basketball, are you telling me if there's refs there, you're not going to try and get the call? Of course you're going to try and get the call.
I don't flop in pickup basketball.
I'm not saying
basketball. I'm
not pickup. I'm saying if there's actual refs.
Okay.
And I'm trying to
Flopping in pickup's wild.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Dog, I'm not even taking you're not taking charges in pickup basketball. I'm saying
you don't call fouls in pickup basketball.
Foul. No. You got my hand.
Baby.
You got my hand. I didn't touch you. No, you saw me go as I went up for the shot.
There's none of that. But if there's refs, you're going to try and maybe do a little bit. That's human nature. But Josh Allen isn't faking it. And again, this is why I'm not going to disparage Josh Allen, because when you do, then to an extent, you're trying to basically say our argument for Patrick Mahomes is not strong enough that we have to tear someone else down.
Yeah.
No, bring them both up. Everyone sees the stats. Everyone sees the numbers, and they'll always choose Patrick.
Yeah. Let's take a break, and we will come back on the other side. I want to get into the specific numbers as we talked about. What makes a weapon a specific weapon for a team, and James Cook sort of being overlooked. There are specific numbers in the common opponents that the Chiefs and the Bills have played this year, and we'll talk about that as to how James Cook is impacting Josh Allen and how Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt were impacting Patrick Mahomes. I promise we do that next. I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. We'll talk with Daniel Holmes coming up at noon. RGR Football, Bleacher Report. Get his thoughts on some Chiefs, some NFL football, some playoffs, some draft, sprinkling all of that in. We talked a lot of college basketball in the first hour. KU's dominant performance last night. The Mizzou Tigers and Kansas State Wildcats in action tonight with some big games respectively. So I want to talk about the quote-unquote weapons. James Cook is leading the NFL in rushing. And Josh Allen, pretty damn good runner of the football himself. So there are different ways of attacking a defense and what their offensive scheme is. I looked at the Chiefs against the Texans this year, and I looked at the Chiefs against the Jags, Bills against the Jags this last weekend, and Bills against the Texans earlier this year. So that's two different defenses that are pretty good, and how they approach the other team's offense. I filtered the plays to being neutral first down plays, meaning it's first down, not 45 seconds to go and you're in a hurry up, first and 10. Not first down and goal to go. Not first down at your own 1 yard line.
Yeah.
Because those are things where that impacts specific personnel. I'm talking about it's first down. It's not an obvious, not a passing. You're not in no huddle. You're not trailing by 25. It's more of a neutral first down. You could go either way. And looked at how the defense is approached pre-snap versus the Chiefs and versus the Bills. So, against the Houston Texans, when the Texans went base or nickel, because they didn't play dime in really either game, when the Texans went base defense or nickel defense in the neutral plays on first down alone, Buffalo had 19 plays, the Chiefs had 23. Buffalo faced a light box 3 times. The Chiefs faced a light box 10 times. That's 7 more times where Patrick Mahomes took the snap on 1st and 10 in a neutral situation that there were only 5 or 6 guys in the box and they were dropping everybody else. Whereas Josh Allen only faced that out of 19 plays 3 times. It was neutral or stacked on 1st down and 10 in neutral plays.
And somehow Pacheco got 1 yard.
Yes. Against Jacksonville this past weekend for Buffalo, they ran 20 plays in this neutral situation, and Jacksonville in base or nickel had a light box 7 times out of 20. The Chiefs against the Jags had 26 plays that were in that neutral category. They faced a light box 19 times. So if you add them all together against the Texans and the Jags and common opponents, the Buffalo Bills had 39 plays that were neutral 1st and 10s. They faced a light box 10 times, roughly 1 out of every 4.
Yeah,
25%.
Yep. Yeah.
The Chiefs had 49 plays like that. They faced a light box 29 of the 40 times. That is 60%, more than double the amount of times on 1st and 10 in neutral situations that Mahomes is facing more defensive backs, more guys spread out, less guys in the box than Josh Allen is with Josh Allen's quote-unquote, look at the weapons he's throwing to. He's throwing to those guys with a more advantageous position because the defense has to respect the run and also puts a spy on Josh Allen and has to respect his running game. So his ability to throw the ball is good. His wide receivers don't necessarily need to be as dynamic because they aren't facing double teams over the top. They're not facing 6, 7 guys that are in coverage constantly, where 60% of the time on 1st and 10, Patrick Mahomes is lining up against 5 or 6 men in the box. That's it. and everything spread out everywhere else. That's what he's throwing against with his weapons because he doesn't have James Cook or an offense that's more dedicated and committed to running the ball like the Bills are.
Well, again, you have to, because if you have a light box against James Cook, he will take advantage of it. The Chiefs do not take advantage of light boxes. It quite frankly is that simple. Sometimes we think there's this overarching, how does this happen? Sometimes it's as simple as, hey, they can run the football and the Chiefs can't. So teams, even when you have light boxes, they know the Chiefs either A, won't stick with it, or B, just simply still can't do it.
Yeah, and we'll still stop them with 6 guys.
We'll still stop them. And I think you look at the Eagles this year, and there's another example of that of last year. Jalen Hurts was pretty good. Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Adams, they threw the ball very well. And so Saquon was more explosive because there was less guys. Other teams had to at least appreciate the pass.
Yeah.
It's the opposite basically in Kansas City, but like appreciate the pass. Well, this year, Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown, those guys were buns, man. Yep. He could not throw the football, whether it's Patullo or not. So what did they do? Okay, well, you're just going to run the football, so we're going to stack the box. Have fun. Good luck.
Yeah.
And you see the same thing with Green Bay. Like you'll see when Josh Jacobs is in the game, okay, we're going to stack the box. When he's out of the game, you have Emmanuel Wilson in. Yeah, we're going to have lighter boxes. That's just the nature of the game. And the Chiefs need a running back. It's not breaking news. This is not some overarching high-tech thought here. You don't have to have the best running back, but you have to have someone who can take advantage of light boxes. That's all we're asking.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the light boxes.
Yeah, you set them up for making life more difficult when the other team is saying 60% of the time on neutral first downs, we're putting 5 or 6 men in the box and we're dropping everybody else.
You should get 6 yards of carry on that. I mean, like you should get about 6 yards of carry in a light box.
Because what's the worst that can happen? It's going to be 2nd and 7. Or we drop and we know you're going to pass it anyway.
Yes.
So now we're going to go ahead and be ready for the pass and try to put pressure on you with 4 guys up front, where that's sort of what the Houston Texans do. Houston Texans don't disguise anything. Sometimes they'll play no linebackers. Just be like, we're going to get there. We're going to have 7 guys and we're going to have 4 guys rushing because we know they're going to get there and you're not going to be able to pass the ball. Plus we also have Lassiter and Stingley and Petrie back there. Like our defense is freaking stacked. So we don't have to stack the box against you guys because we'll be able to win anyway because that defensive line is so freaking good. And the Chiefs, whether it's scheme or commitment or simply the running back, make life more difficult for Patrick Mahomes and his weapons, quote unquote, that he throws to because they're expecting the pass, they're playing the pass, they have more guys in coverage. Where Josh Allen and his weapons that he throws to made life a little bit easier with James Cook leading the league in rushing yards this year.
Yes.
Yet, James Cook isn't a weapon for Josh Allen. Why not? He's not a weapon for Josh Allen because Josh Allen doesn't throw him the ball as a wide receiver. But he's a weapon for Josh Allen because he creates and makes life easier for Josh Allen when he does have to throw the ball to the inferior receivers. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. Mick Schaefer joins us an hour from now. Hang out with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director. Very excited to start. I mean, I guess technically last week we did that, but, to officially start our weekly conversations with Daniel Holmes, RGR Football, and Bleacher Report does a great job covering the Chiefs, the NFL, the draft. Joining us as we'll talk with them weekly here, noon on Wednesdays through the NFL draft. Daniel, welcome to the show. How are you, sir?
Thank you guys again for having me. I'm really excited about doing this every single week. Getting to talk with you guys is always fun in general, but now that we have a schedule down for it, it's something I can look forward to every single week. So I'm doing great.
And we will look forward to it as well. I'm looking forward to the games this weekend. And one thing that sort of sticks out from this past weekend that I wanted to talk to you about is, we see how Spags runs his defense and the scheme and how diverse it is. And we hear, it takes a while before they really get up to speed and learn it. And the Houston Texans just simply go, bleep you, here's what we're doing. We don't care. Try to stop us because we're better than you, more physical than you, better athletes on the field. This Texans defense, how much is it a personnel thing? And how much is it sort of Matt Burke, D'Amico Ryans, whether it's scheme, personality? When you watch this Texans team, is it just simply their personnel? That's why they can do it? Is there anything else working with this Texans team, how they're so good and so dominant defensively?
Yeah, honestly, it's an impressive group to watch, not just because of how they fly around, but because of how talented they are. Now, obviously, it starts up front with Will Anderson Jr. and Daniil Hunter in terms of creating pressure, right? That's when everyone says the Texans just line up and do whatever they want to and just rush forward and don't have to worry about anything. Well, that's true because they live in this nickel defense, basically. Everyone, that's where you have that extra DB on the field. You run 2 linebackers, 4 down linemen, and then you don't have to be in your base, right, with an extra linebacker on the field. So a lot of these defenses now, as we've seen, are getting a little bit lighter. Some of them, like the Chiefs, have gone the opposite way. It's a little bit more in their 4-3 base defense. But if you have a guy like Jalen Petrie as your nickel, who can he's a bit smaller, but he has an FU attitude and doesn't care about playing in the run game. You can do whatever you want with that kind of guy. So, just looking at one of the things a resource that I really love is matchquarters.com. It's authored by Cody Alexander, one of the best defensive content creators out there. He has this NFL defensive scheme diversity grade chart, and at the very top, at a 99 out of 100, is Kansas City. No shock there.
Yeah, right.
And at the very bottom, at 1%. Are the Houston Texans. So to get to your point about is it scheme, is it personnel, is it coaching, if you play so much of what you do in terms of just a cover 3, a base zone defense, you don't don't blitz very much, everything is relied on details. So it's not just a D'Amico Ryans and Matt Burke who calls the plays. It goes all the way down to their position coaches, everyone that has to rely on those little details, right? Bill Davis, a linebackers coach. You've got Dino Vasso, the defensive backs coach. All of these guys, safeties with Stephen Adekoke. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I apologize, Stephen, if that's not how you say it. But all of these guys, they have to stress the little fine detail. So if you're playing a simple scheme, as we say, quote unquote, simple, all of the things, everyone has to be in the right spot at the right time. You have to be able to pass off if you're playing that match zone defense. You have to realize what routes are coming at you, when to trigger on the throw, how you're reading the quarterback's eyes. And then at the end of the day, when you are playing in run, if you're in nickel, can you count on your DBs to fly downhill, tackle outside the tackles? And then, really, one of the mainstays of this run defense is Tommy Togiai, who was not a highly recruited player, a highly touted player coming out of Ohio State, but has turned into a fantastic run defender. They just have ass kickers everywhere on that defense. So the Texans are so fun to watch because everyone, like I said, everyone says it's just so simple. They line up and they just say, we're going to kick your ass, and then they do it. But they have such great attention to detail. And then the personnel. They have go ahead.
No, sorry, you finished. The personnel.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe they have the best duo at corner in Kamari Lassiter and Derek Stingley, and the best duo as edge rushers in Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter. Like, when you have those guys, you can pretty much do what you want to. And I know that the thing right now is that you play man coverage against Derek Stingley, and you can beat him deep over the. Obviously, you do know because you can tell, but it's just. It's so fun to watch, man.
Well, and one of the things I was going to say is, I offer this that not every game we watch has to be a referendum on what the Chiefs don't do well. When we see somebody do something well, it's like, look at that running back. The Chiefs can't run the ball. Well, we know that. Look at this guy. Well, the Chiefs don't have that. Look at this receiver going up and making a play. Well, the Chiefs don't have that. Look at this defense doing those things. But while I offer that at the beginning here, I wonder, Spags gets his flowers for being, one of the best defensive coordinators in the league, and how difficult and difficult to decipher and multiple his defenses are, and changing coverage after the snap and sliding in different ways. I wonder if it is there let me ask it this way, Daniel, using air quotes simple in defense, okay? Mm-hmm. Is there an advantage to being quote unquote simple and say, this is what we do, and we are going to do it at the highest level of anybody in the league, and we're going to play fast because we know every single detail about what we do, as opposed to, hey, we do this, but then we do this next play, but then we do this over here, but then we're going to change this personnel and do that, but then we also have this guy doing these things, and we're going to do this over there. Is there an advantage to quote unquote being simple and just simply playing fast and saying, we are going to perfect these things that we do, and if you beat us, you beat us, but you're not going to beat us by us being in the wrong spot?
Yeah, I think that you said it right there. It's being able to play fast. I think the biggest advantage is you can play fast at every level of the defense. Safety on down to the defensive tackles. You know what you're supposed to do. You don't have to worry so much about, all right, are we dropping out of coverage here? Are my linebackers triggering downhill on a play action fake? Do we have safety coming down? Do we have corners rotating back? Do we have backside corner rotating to take off a deep dig? Like, there's so many layers to complexity of defense, and not just that, but blitzing. And right now, the big thing in the NFL, really over the past couple of years, has been simulated pressures. That's the key tagline you see around how to rush four without rushing, or create three rushers without rushing more than four, right? You bring a safety down, you drop a defensive lineman, you're still rushing four, but you create different leverages, and you can pull different levers here and there to get free rushers. But that's, again, more complex, because then you have to rely on that safety to get into a free lane to impact the quarterback, because if you don't, and the quarterback sees that defensive tackle in space, where is he throwing the football?
Yep.
He's throwing it at the defensive tackle. So if you can just line up and say, we are going to play structured cover three defense, if you see someone come into your zone, you trigger on that, because at the end of the day, we aren't getting beat deep because the quarterback's going to be on the ground in less than 3 seconds, and that's one of the biggest advantages you have in playing simplicity. But also, it makes those details even more fine-tuned, because if there is a bust somewhere, the quarterback has time to find it. He knows the ball has to come out quick, so there's always a give and take there.
Well, yeah, that's an interesting point, because I wonder, as we progress and advance in the NFL and we see more quarterbacks be able to make that second play, to be able to escape, get out of the pocket and make the second play, I mean, how many coverage sacks do we see? Like, how much better does a quarterback become the more time he has to throw the ball? Because that more time to throw the ball is not just, well, he's in the pocket, not moving, statue, guys are covered, eventually a defensive end or tackle is going to get there and sack the quarterback. But, if we see a quarterback get outside the pocket, it's like, okay, now it's 2.5, it's 3, it's 3.5. Okay, boom, there's an open receiver. I found it. I don't know how, like, we talk about George Karlaftis' motor, but how often are there any more coverage sacks because quarterbacks are so good with their escapability and making that second play?
Yeah, I think there's fewer and fewer, and one of the things that we've seen, I don't know for an absolute fact, because I haven't done all the research, but I did see a stat somewhere that Patrick Mahomes this year had one of the best seasons of holding onto the football that we've ever seen. Typically, as in later in downs, quarterbacks' EPAs drop, right? They go down because they're trying to throw the ball either down the field or trying to find the open man. But Patrick was one of the best this year at doing that when it was over 3 seconds or something like that. Again, don't quote me on it. I remember seeing it somewhere. So I guess we can at least extrapolate a little bit as the longer you do hold on to the football, maybe it doesn't get better, because typically, I mean, I can think of a few examples of Patrick sitting in the pocket waiting 4 or 5 seconds when you have those 1 or 2, 3 or 4 times that happens throughout the season, but no one is really open still. So you're still waiting and you're still trying to find those guys. So I think we've gotten to a point where defenses, specifically at safety and corner, are so good at matching zones, are so good at identifying route combinations and seeing where to pass off, when to identify, unless you catch them in man coverage and you're able to slip somebody behind a linebacker or something. They're just so much more sound in the way that they play defense. So, I mean, coverage sacks in their truest sense happen quickly, right? 1, 2, 3 seconds. If no one's open and you got 4 rushers, you can get after the quarterback. That technically is a coverage sack. So maybe there's something to that.
Yeah. Visiting with Daniel Holmes, RGR Football Bleacher Report. This is great. The next evolution or part of the conversation is, okay, so if we all know it makes so much of a big difference if you can just get there with 4 rushers, if you can find a way to get to the quarterback and not have to blitz and bring 5 or 6 guys or play cover 0 or different things like that. In this draft, a lot of people, myself included, enamored with Ruben Bain, and sitting there at number 9 on the board. Is Ruben Bain the guy that's sort of the plug and play? Let's say the 2025 defense that we know had struggles of putting pressure on the quarterback. Is Ruben Bain the guy in the draft reasonably to be there at number 9 that with this defensive personnel this last year, you put him at defensive end and he makes the biggest impact? Or would that be Keldrick Falk? Is it David Bailey? Is it a corner? Like, is it Peter Woods? Who would you look at and go, okay, I can take this guy from college right now and put him here and he'll make the biggest impact on this defense?
Yeah, I think it is specifically Ruben Bain because of the ways that he can win. Now, today on RGR Football, I have my very first draft prospect spotlight dropping, and it is on Ruben Bain Jr. It's been the biggest talking point of pretty much everyone in Kansas City because, one, we don't know where he's going to fall. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about him. I don't know how much of it is true because this is also rumor season where people will try to drop prospects based on leaking something to the media. And the big thing is that some teams evaluate him as a defensive tackle because of his short arms and his basically his build. Yeah. And so they want to see him at 3 tech, which I don't necessarily hate, for having him play 3 tech, but that is more of a sub-package rusher for me. I want to see him be a NASCAR obstacle. What we see with George Karlaftis, we see it with Charles Menehue, Mike Dana. Those are guys that offer it. I think Ruben Bain excels at rushing inside as well as winning from the edge. So when you were talking specifically, I think the key point here is dropping him into the current construction of the team is, one, getting an edge rusher who can actually win quickly. So we've talked about this before, and after doing the film, I will say I'm not going to give everything away because I want everyone to watch the film too. The first step consistency is not what I previously went into the film with the idea. So he's not the most explosive player off of that first step. However, when he times it and when he does actually just get off the ball, you can see there is a difference between when he really does try to explode and when he's just kind of maybe not giving it the whole 100% of the time. So that's something I do want to see be more consistent in his game, timing the snap properly and getting off the football. If you're working with Chris Jones, I think we can relatively assume some level of maybe you can see how he gets off the ball and try to play that way. But power. He is an ass kicker. I have a couple of clips on Twitter. You can see he ragdolls, guards, tackles. He can move people around with his natural understanding of leverage. And even though he has short arms, he can still set an edge in the run defense. Like, he knows how to get inside a tackle and still use his length to extend. It's not going to be what you see from the best arm, like the long arm guys, right, who can just sit there with one arm and just kind of give you the outside. Hey, look, I've got my outside arm here. You can't get to the outside. Yeah. But he does well at disengaging when you do see a running back go that way. So hand usage, it's excellent. It's fast. He can counter multiple different ways. The counter speed up needs to happen a little bit faster. He needs to get to those quicker to be more impactful in the NFL. But when you watch college offensive lines, they are sending chips. They are moving the pocket away from him. They are sending guards, sending running backs. They are doing a bunch of different things to negate his ability to get after the quarterback. So now you have Chris Jones in Kansas City. So that gives you somebody who, if you get a one-on-one, has a better chance to win that one-on-one quickly and still stress the edge than anybody else not named Chris Jones. And that's why I have him as the guy that actually you can drop in right now and impact. I think David Bailey has a chance to be maybe a year removed from now, but he's also a bit smaller. And even though he's got the length, he's got the speed off the edge, I am a little bit more worried about his natural anchor and ability to really ragdoll guys in the NFL. So that's just something that I will get to as well, because I'm going to do one on him as well later.
Yeah, and I would worry, and I think there are a number of people that look at it and say, okay, the best pure pass rusher in this draft is going to be David Bailey. You know, he's going to get to the quarterback. He's a double-digit sack guy walking around right now in college. He's going to have double-digit sacks in the NFL. The part that I would look at and go, yeah, cool, for a different team, because Spags will look at it and go, I can't see him stopping the run on the edge, so that's not our guy. That's not our defensive end. You know, he seems to be too fast. He's too Nick Bonito, and we need Karlaftis with better pass rush. I don't know. It's a pet peeve of mine, but hey, they've won a couple of Super Bowls, 3 of them with Steve Spagnuolo and his idea of different personnel, and we'll see what happens moving forward this offseason. Daniel Holmes is our guest. Should they explore? And this will certainly come up more and more unless they get into an extension here soon. But should the Chiefs explore moving Trent McDuffie for draft picks this year?
I think if you aren't at least exploring those kind of options, you're doing yourself a disservice. And that's not because I don't love Trent McDuffie. I have spoken for years about how much I love Trent McDuffie, going back to when he was coming out of Washington. He was one of my favorite corners in that class, and we're seeing why. So he's an all-pro. We know that. But if you're looking around, specifically at the Philadelphia Eagles and the way that they deal with drafts and picks, right? They have an extra second-round pick this year or third-round pick this year from a trade with Hassan Reddick, and he's not even on the Jets or the Eagles anymore. But they have the pick 68 or something because of that. Just these random little trades that happen that they're able to acquire top 60 and top 100 picks in the draft, multiple of them. I think they have 4 this year still. So finding ways to get more top 100 picks is how you inject realistic and, for the most part, some immediate talent into your group. If you look at Noah Williams this past year, he was an immediate talent injection that didn't get playing time for whatever reason until later in the season. He missed some assignments here and there, because I'm telling you right now, I don't care.
Yeah,
you're going to miss a couple of assignments in the NFL. It's realistic. It's the best place you're going to find the best talent. At some time when you're a rookie, you're going to make a mistake. He didn't make mistakes multiple times a game. He usually learned from them. So I think Trent McDuffie is a great football player. And if you can acquire, at least, in my opinion, he should be worth a first and a third round pick. I think that is the starting point for Trent McDuffie. And if you can't get at least that, you probably aren't going to be trading him. But then you have to consider the cap ramifications of that later down the road. He is going to be asking for $30+ million. Let's be real about that. That's how he's going to be, what he should be asking for. He's an all-pro player, multiple-time all-pro. So I think that realistically, assessing the trade market for Trent McDuffie is, while it hurts my heart, it's the most realistic expectation to help inject this team with what they do need elsewhere.
Yeah, and I don't know that if there's any, first and third would be amazing, but then I wonder, okay, what if it's a second round pick, a second and third, where it might be a higher second round pick, and I don't know who that would be, because I don't think the Jets or Cardinals or Titans or Raiders or Giants are looking at trading a second-round pick for McDuffie as being like, hey, this is the difference maker for us to get over the top. I'm not sure. Maybe it's a mid-second and a high third or something like that might be what the Chiefs do, and then they view it as, well, we're also going to save whatever the money is on his contract with that cap hit that we can go out and improve elsewhere to maybe sign Jalen Watson and Leo Chenal, and you've got Fulton and Noel Williams and Jalen Watson, and you retain Leo Chenal, and you pick up a second and a third for McDuffie, and now you can recuperate some of those things in different areas, and now you've got the number 9 pick, the number 36 or number 40 and number 44. And then a couple of third-rounders to really replenish, because 2022 did a lot for this Chiefs team, and they've been sort of living off that. They need another draft like 2022. They just don't have the amount of tickets to play in this particular draft. Last one for you, Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. We've talked so much about the scheme for Andy Reid and maybe updating it and getting an influence, an outside influence, or the running game is going under center, all these different parts of this year. And it's a simple question, but probably not a simple answer. If a dynamic running back were on the Chiefs, how much does that take away from, well, you've got to update the scheme, you've got to do this and that, because it might look different in the opportunities that player gets versus when I watch Mitchell Schwartz break down the run game, and his frustration is greater than mine because he lived through it, but my frustration is pretty heightened when I watch him, look at this angle, that angle, what are you doing here? If it's a dynamic running back, do the Chiefs need to change scheme all that much, or it's a lot to do with personnel and Pacheco and Hunt just aren't good enough to get it done?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure it's a true scheme issue in the sense that the scheme blocks. The blocking scheme is poor. I think the coaching details, as Mitchell Schwartz has talked about many, many times, are bad. Specifically when it comes to angles running backs take to get to a hole on outside zone, how when Isaiah Pacheco is trying to get to the outside, he's weaving. Like he's weaving on his trajectory, which is, one, it's wasted movement. You're not going to get where you need to go fast enough if a hole opens up. And then on top of that, you just have misses when holes are there because the vision isn't very good from an Isaiah Pacheco, or you have Kareem Hunt, who is just not as explosive as a player as he used to be. If we go back to Damian Williams and the Kareem Hunt before that, those guys, while Damian Williams was not an overly great running back, he didn't waste movement. When the angle was there, he hit it. When the hole was there, he hit it. He found it, and he could realistically get to cutback lanes from outside zone looks. And that's something that you consistently saw. And then for Kareem Hunt, he had the explosiveness, the power to fight through the holes and kind of get skinny, as we're still seeing from him now. So I think that when we just look at adding an explosive running back with vision, I think that's the biggest area here for me, is one that can consistently attack angles, create leverage, make defenders stress the outside. Right now, there's no threat of an outside run in Kansas City's offense because every defense knows they're going to run inside, every single one of them. So when a run does get bounced outside, there's like 7 or 8 yards there at least, but no one can consistently attack it because that's just how the running back room has been constructed. So I do think that adding a dynamic running back helps. The coaching details need to improve on offensive line as well as the running back room, because just that person alone, if they are being taught in the week leading up to the game or in the offseason to maybe have this angle wrong, it makes the entire scheme look bad.
Yeah, I just there's so many things that the Chiefs can accomplish this offseason that can take them back to what we've seen them be the last few years. It's a big one, and I'm oddly excited about what they can do and the prospects this offseason. Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. There's no oddly excited. It's just general excited. Weekly. Daniel, I love saying this. Appreciate the time. We'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, man. Thank you guys so much. I look forward to it.
Absolutely. There's Daniel Harms. Great stuff. If you're not following him, it's in Harms' way. RGR Football Bleacher Report, as he mentioned, he's going to start coming out with these, draft prospect breakdowns, and the first one on Ruben Bain that's going to drop later today. Looking forward to watching that and everything that he took away from what Ruben Bain offers, some areas of improvement for him, because, again, I've liked the idea of, blow for Bain. And we'll see if the Chiefs end up getting Ruben Bain or if he's gone at like the 4th pick, and the whole time we're talking about this, it's for naught. Because we talked about Josh Simmons a lot the month leading up to the draft about the injury, and it's like, patellar injury, you don't take that guy. He shouldn't even be on your board. Or, no, there's going to be a tackle-needy team that's going to draft him before 31. Like, you're not going to get him that late. Either you shouldn't draft him, or if you're willing to draft him, there's another team that needs a tackle that would be willing to draft him. And they're not trying to go for a three-peat or go for 4 straight Super Bowls, I guess, after coming off an attempted three-peat where you've been to 3 straight Super Bowls. They're not looking at that where you are. We talked about it, and then it got there, and they took him. Doesn't mean it'll be the same thing for Ruben Bain. We could be, talking about different guys in the draft. David Bailey might be the guy that they end up taking, although I don't know that fits Spag's profile.
And, if Bain and Bailey both go in the top 8, that means that you could probably get a Carnell Tate or one of the top wide receivers in the class, and then it's like, okay, you don't get that edge rusher, but you also solve another need because the Chiefs can't get separation, especially against man coverage. And, you're going to get a good player at 9. I think it really just depends really where the quarterback run happens, and then if it does, where those edge rushers fall.
Well, I think if they don't come away with an edge rusher or defensive line difference maker, which I would rather go edge rusher because I still have hope in Omar Norman-Lott returning. Although it's like, first year removed from tearing his ACL. We'll hear that next year if he's not successful. We did see it come to fruition with Turk Wharton. That first year after a torn ACL, he just wasn't the same. And then in 24, he was awesome. And he got himself a pretty good contract, and I think it was kind of overlooked how much they missed Turk Wharton this year because they exchanged Turk Wharton for Jerry Tillery. They saved the cap number, certainly, so you can't sign everybody. So you had to go and make a choice, and Jerry Tillery was not anywhere near to the level of what you were getting from Turk Wharton. That sucks. But credit to Turk Wharton for playing at such a high level in 24 that he got that contract this past year, and you know what, made the Super Bowl or made the playoffs and all that stuff. I would rather them go defensive end because again, the defensive tackle with Chris Jones and then Omar Norman-Lott as well. But if they don't end up with a defensive end or a defensive tackle, I actually think at that point it puts more emphasis on you should be looking to move Trent McDuffie. Because we've seen you can have an awesome cornerback out there. But if you're not pressuring the quarterback, okay, they just won't throw to that guy. Yeah, but we got a shutdown corner over there. Yeah. So they'll throw to where Shamari Connor is. Or they'll throw to wherever, you're in a zone. So he'll hold the football and wait for somebody to come open in the zone because you're not pressuring that guy. As opposed to, well, you don't have McDuffie that's like a shutdown corner there, but you're getting to the quarterback quickly, and it's making them make quick decisions, which then you can play closer. You could play man-to-man. I would like to see them play more press coverage. I'd like to see them play more bump-and-run type coverage right at the snap, do some of that. But you can't do that if you're not putting pressure on the quarterback, whereas if you get a defensive end that can pressure the quarterback and Omar Norman-Lott improves and Chris Jones is still there, you could have those 4 guys throw somebody else. Who knows? Maybe FAU comes back next year and is a pass rushing specialist specifically, and now you've got Karlaftis, Bain, Jones, FAU.
When it's agent acquisition.
Yes,
and
right.
Cooking.
Boye Mafe.
Well, I'll tell you what, the Chiefs have not been in this position where they can get a truly elite edge rusher,
yes.
Or at least the prospect of getting one. I mean, when you're picking at 32, you're not going to get a Micah Parsons. You're not going to get someone in that top 10.
You're not going to get a Ruben Bain or a Keldron Falk or a David Bailey.
And so, honestly, to a certain extent, it would be disappointing if they didn't get an edge rusher with that top 10 pick.
Yeah, I would. And I know people are looking at wide receiver, and I get it, and especially with Rashee Rice, they might be looking at wide receiver even more. I'd rather come back around in the second round and look wide receiver. Because, again, Patrick Mahomes can make up for a lot of things on the offense. The wide receivers need to be improved. I don't, discount that. I don't dismiss that at all. The running back needs to be improved, and it doesn't mean I want them to go draft Jeremiah Love. I would like him to sign Walker, Hall, Algier as a running back, whatever, sign Romeo Doubs as a wide receiver. You do that and then get yourself a stud defensive end. I feel like you just got better. That you've got a good dynamic running back. You've got a receiver that is, I don't know the last time you had a just reliable, this guy's going to run his routes, he's going to get open, he's going to catch everything, he's going to block for you too. When's the last time you had that? That wasn't Travis Kelce as a wide receiver. So to have that would be nice, and to have a running back that offers a little more dynamism than what you've had, that changes the way the offense looks at that point.
It's also all about value. And drafting a running back with that top 10 pick, the value's not there in it. Like an edge rusher on the open market, a truly elite one, $25, $30 million a year.
Yeah. Open market, you're looking at, if it's truly elite, you're looking at 40
to 50.
Yeah, you're looking at $40 million because that's what they're making right now. On the open market,
4 years from now, who
if
knows?
Myles Garrett's a free agent right now, 40 is what it starts at.
Oh, he could probably get 50.
45. Yeah, that's what it would start at, because you're talking about a guy that is an immediate difference maker. Every part of the offense is focused on where that guy is and having to move some people around, and he's still going to get the sack record.
And for a team with cap issues, taking someone that you don't have to go out and pay an expensive edge rusher. I mean, we talk all the time about roster construction and how you build and who you pay. If you can draft someone high where you don't have to pay an elite tier edge rusher for at least 4 years, you're in a much better spot financially.
Yes, 100%. And are you better off going out and trying to sign an edge rusher like a Boye Mafe, something like that is affordable, quote-unquote affordable, and getting a Carnell Tate or Tyson? Or are you better off drafting Reuben Bain or David Bailey and signing Romeo Doubs? I think you're a better team. I think you're closer to having a wide receiver that you need with Doubs compared to who you would draft, rather than the free agent defensive end edge rusher that's on the market that you can afford compared to what you would then get offensively with, Carnell Tate, or what you could. So like a Carnell Tate and Boye Mafe, or Romeo Doubs and Reuben Bain. What's your choice? I'll take Bain and Doubs.
Take the latter.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue more Zone right after this. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Thank you to Daniel Harms, RGR Football, Bleacher Report. Weekly, we'll talk with him. He does a great job covering the draft as well, obviously with more focus on the NFL draft, with the Chiefs drafting at number 9. So we will have conversations each and every week with Daniel Harms. Tomorrow we'll hang out with Matt Lane from KC Sports Network. And coming up at 1 o'clock, we'll hang out with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director. Some Rotten Tomatoes today as well. We'll get into some of that. Some of the news around the NFL, just wanted to pass this along. There is a thought that John Harbaugh will not leave New York without being hired as the Giants head coach. He is going through his in-person interview with the Giants right now, today. He's visiting New York. He's not under contract or on a team, so therefore he can in-person interview. If you are requested to have an interview, like some of the guys that are currently under contract, they can't in-person interview until Monday. But if you are out of a job, like Harbaugh, he can have his in-person interview, which he is doing today in New York. And there is at least a thought out there that Harbaugh will not leave New York, or New York, the Giants won't let Harbaugh leave without making sure he's the coach, however way they need to sweeten the pot. Which, I mean, does sweeten the pot mean that he's the GM?
I was going to say, there's definitely some team control in that. I don't know if Joe Schoen will be there that long.
Right, yeah. I mean, if it's I'm not here if he's here.
Very Liam Cohen in Jacksonville-esque.
Or very Andy Reid, Brett Veach. That, John Harbaugh can go, well, yeah, Joe Schoen handles that. Whereas it's like, well, no, I've got a pretty big say behind the scenes of what's going on personnel-wise and who we're going after, who we're signing. This is an in-tandem thing during the season. Yeah, feel free to scour the waiver wire and do some of those things and prepare for the draft the next year. All of that stuff. Look at guys to trade while I'm coaching. But I'm going to have a lot of say in final decisions on this if I'm going to be coaching here.
You would think that would be his request regardless of where he goes. Because, I think you said it the other day, he's not interviewing with other teams. He is interviewing them.
Yeah, the teams aren't interviewing him. He's interviewing them.
He's the prized, candidate, and I guess there's better ones on the not maybe better ones, but there are better options now with Tomlin not in Pittsburgh. But I mean, he's the premier candidate. He's going to get what he wants.
Yeah, it's the okay. We're going to sit back and we've got all of these guys that we're going to interview to see who we would like to hire. Versus Clark Hunt saying, "No, I'm pursuing Andy Reid. He's the guy I want to hire. I have to convince him as to why we're a good spot for him, as opposed to the other way around where this coach is convincing us that he's the best choice to take over our franchise." That's John Harbaugh right now. We are pursuing him and telling him why we are a good fit for you. Hey, look, the Giants, we haven't been good in a while, but here's why. And here's what we can do. Yes, we've got money. And I think there's something to the reports that said that Harbaugh was studying film on Jackson Dart and Cam Ward last week when he was taking some time off because, he wasn't employed anymore. So, taking some time off while, traveling with his daughter back to law school. And so he wasn't going to do any of that stuff last week. But in the meantime, while he was taking some time off, he was studying film on Jackson Dart and also Cam Ward. I don't think it's a surprise that his first in-person visit is the Giants. I don't think it's coincidental. And I do think there's a chance he doesn't leave New York without being named the New York Giants head coach.
A little Andy Reid situation.
Andy Clark. Clark saying, we're not letting you get on the plane to go to Arizona. You're going to be our coach. You're not getting on that plane. I think the Giants are going to try to do that today with John Harbaugh.
I do think the Giants' gig is better than the Titans, even though the Titans have maybe the better upside quarterback in Cam Ward. I do think organizationally speaking, and neither are great, by the way. It's not like either are these phenomenal organizations. I think the Giants have a little more going for them with the defense. I think Jackson Dart's good enough. Cam Scadaboo, obviously. Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson. Titans just feels, and they're in an easier division, probably. with the Eagles and Washington and Dallas. I think that's a little tougher for the Giants. Mm-hmm. Obviously, AFC South, you still have Houston and Jacksonville now. I think the Giants are a better gig, though, personally. I don't know your thoughts on that.
I like Jackson Dart and Scadaboo, and they've got some defensive players. Brian Burns is good. Abdul Carter.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Yep, they've got some pieces there. You've got Neighbors when he comes back from injury. So there are some pieces there. And I think from Harbaugh's perspective, whether he ever fully embraced, and I know they did offensively with the scheme, but if they ever fully embraced, like, Lamar is the guy, because the Chiefs didn't wait around to extend Patrick Mahomes. The Bengals didn't wait around to extend Joe Burrow. The Bills didn't wait around to extend Josh Allen. The Ravens let it out there with a fifth-year option and were open to trading Lamar. So I don't know that John Harbaugh ever fully bought in that this is the guy that's going to lead us to a Super Bowl. Does he think he has that in Jackson Dart? I don't know. Does he think he would have that in Cam Ward? Because it can't be, well, Lamar and I didn't get along. For whatever reason that is, your new spot, you have to have, like, the relationship with that quarterback. The Ben Johnson, Caleb Williams,
sure,
where after the game is over, Caleb Williams gets the game ball from Ben Johnson, but then after the game balls go out, Caleb Williams tells everybody quiet down and goes to the middle of the big huddle in the locker room and starts talking about Ben Johnson and gets emotional and almost starts crying and gives Ben Johnson the game ball right back, saying that's the difference this guy's made in my life and my game and as a quarterback and for us. No, you gave me this game ball as this win for the Bears. I'm giving it back to you. You get the game ball. That's the relationship that has to happen, and I don't think that's ever been the case in Baltimore with Harbaugh and Lamar Jackson. Whether that's Harbaugh's fault or Lamar's fault, you can't have that disconnect. Pete Carroll and Russell Wilson got sideways, and they moved on. Andy and Patrick have that, connection there that Patrick talks about, what Andy Reid means to him and that relationship that they have. We see that in other places. I don't know that Josh Allen and Sean McDermott have that. I have no idea because I'm not there covering it every day in Buffalo. I know people outside of Buffalo think he thinks, he's an idiot.
I think we did see with Caleb Williams, though, with Ben Johnson, just really quick on that point, we saw the growth from year one to year two, and I think from college to year two, that was dramatic as a leader. Like, it did feel, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm completely misreading the situation, but it did feel like when he came out of college, he was a me-first guy. I'm fairly certain that he was the guy that before he wanted to sign, he wanted to get ownership, percentage ownership in the Bears. It doesn't feel like he's that guy anymore. It feels more team-oriented than me-oriented, and I wonder how much, and maybe that's what he's alluding to, is Ben Johnson helped open his eyes of, hey, if you become a team-first guy, you're good enough, you'll get the credit you deserve, but without you being a team-first guy, this team can't go anywhere. And I think we saw that evolution, at least outside looking in, feels like we saw that evolution of Caleb Williams. You're right. I don't know if we saw that with Lamar. I don't know if we saw that with him and Lamar or Josh and McDermott. I think we have that with Andy Reid and Patrick. I feel like there's a mutual respect or mutual admiration there that really goes back and forth. And you'll have to decide can you get that with Jackson Dart? Can that be a guy that you feel you can have that sort of growth progression with? Jackson Dart's interesting. I would have thought that his numbers are intriguing because you look at just pass yards and that stuff, they're not great. He averaged 162 yards per game. But then you look at some of the more analytical side of things. You look at the quarterback rating. You look at the QBR. He is basically the exact same as what Caleb Williams was this year. I mean, QBR for Caleb, 58.4. For Jackson Dart, 57.6. The quarterback rating for Jackson Dart, 91.7. For Caleb, at 90.1. I mean, they're basically the exact same. Again, not same player, but very similar in line as far as what they've done. Can you trust Jackson Dart to take that next level? Can you trust him to grow and become a better thrower of the football? Now, it's not like he had a great amount of weapons with Malik Neighbors going down. It wasn't like he was.
They have Wan'Dale Robinson, who's good.
Yes.
And then Malik Neighbors, and having those guys to throw the ball to helped. But then Neighbors goes down, and Cam Scatterbu goes down.
Yes.
And they also have the 5th pick in the draft. I mean, the Giants are also picking, so they've got those pieces and they've got the 5th pick. It's like, well, is he going to take the Falcons' job? Well, Penix is coming off an ACL injury and they don't have a first rounder because they traded back into the first round to get Pierce, which was a great move. Because if you look at some of the redrafts, Pierce is a top 10 pick in the draft if they redraft 2025. Which, by the way, I think it was Bleacher Report had the redraft, and number 15 or 16 was Noel Williams in the first round.
Makes sense, yeah.
And then Josh Simmons was drafted like 5 spots later. So, like, redrafting the 2025 NFL draft, at least according to one person, right, at Bleacher Report, Noel Williams and Josh Simmons were both first-round picks. That's what they, got in the third rounder, Noel Williams. Well, the Falcons don't have a first-rounder, and they've got a quarterback coming off an ACL. The Giants have some young players. They've got a stud receiver. They've got a quarterback that if you believe he's the guy, that's John Harbaugh has to figure that out. They don't have much cap space, but the plan is to do a lot of maneuvering. Like the Chiefs don't have cap space, but they're going to eventually have cap space. The Falcons have more, but again, they don't have a first-round draft pick. So you can get a difference maker with the 5th pick in the draft. You don't have a third rounder, but you got a high second rounder too. You got 2 picks that are in the top 37. You have the 5th pick and number 37 that you have. I mean, it makes sense, and the fact that he has already had an in-home visit, essentially, with the ownership group at his house over the weekend. And now he's got an in-person in New Jersey with the Giants now.
And it's not the Jets.
Yes. There's clear mutual interest. Harbaugh wouldn't have a, quote, in-home visit like in college and then agree to go and see the facilities and do that if it was like, yeah, this isn't going to work. I can already tell relationship-wise, structure-wise, management, these are the things I'd like. It's not going to work. I'll look somewhere else. No, you sit down with him at his house to convince him that this is the place to be. Let's get you to New York. Let's get you here. And you can meet with Joe Schoen, you can meet with other people, and you can get a feel for what it's going to be like. And we're not going to let you leave without giving you, $20 million a year or more.
I do think you have the benefit of seeing Jackson Dart. Even the Titans have the benefit, whoever's going to be the head coach there, the benefit of seeing Cam Ward. I think Atlanta's tough because Michael Penix, you're right, has looked good at times, but again, he's always injured. That was the question in college. And he's, 26 by the time the season starts again? It's not like he's this young dude who you can mold. He's 26 with injury concerns. And then I think you look at the Raiders, everyone's going to say, well, they have the number 1 draft pick. Yeah, it's great if you believe in Mendoza. And you don't know what he looks like in the NFL. So I think there's going to be some value to these spots that some people might not. And then the Steelers are the one where it's maybe the best organization, right? Probably the best, them and the Ravens, the best organization. But yet at the same time, if you're the Steelers, you don't have a high draft pick, and you don't have a quarterback, and you have a lot of aging, older veterans. I mean, each spot has its own set of concerns, which, again, is why they fired their head coach. But I think there's such value in at least knowing what Cam Ward and Jackson Dart have done in the NFL. I think there's so much risk if you go to the Raiders, you go, hey, all my eggs are in the Mendoza basket or Dante Moore basket. You draft that guy, and they don't look good. Well, then what happens?
Yeah. Over the weekend, John Harbaugh met with president of football in the Atlanta Falcons, Matt Ryan. And then Chris Mara is where he had sort of the in-home visit with, owner of the Giants, part of the ownership group. And now he's in New York right now. I'm going to guess the Giants are not going to let him get on the plane and go to Tennessee to meet with the Titans ownership group and Borgonzi and whoever else, or go to Atlanta and meet with Arthur Blank and whoever else.
Are you saying it's going to be a Will Wade situation?
Make him a strong-ass offer?
A strong-ass offer.
Yeah, maybe it is. I think they should. I think it's going to be a Clark Hunt and Andy Reid situation. Only Andy Reid took the job sight unseen because of how much he believed in Clark Hunt and the Hunt family and the Chiefs and the organization and the history that, okay, you've sold me. Let's do it.
Well, and he got to choose his GM.
Well, whatever,
I mean, that's a pretty big.
Yeah.
Pretty big. But maybe the second biggest. Maybe even the biggest. landing spot for head coaches. Who am I working with at GM, and can I pick him?
Yep.
But if things do end up failing in New York, Schoen's the first to go. Harbaugh's got a long leash.
Correct. Yeah, he'll get paid a lot of money, and hiring Harbaugh would say they have more belief in Harbaugh than Schoen. And I think today is the Harbaugh-Schoen meeting, conversation. Can we get along? Or, more importantly, if I'm John Harbaugh, or if you're John Harbaugh to Schoen, saying, can we get along? Or this is how it's going to be. If I'm going to be here, this is how it's going to be. And if it's not going to be that, then you might have to go have a meeting with the Maras because they're going to find a new GM. So, I mean, if they want John Harbaugh, it's either going to be Harbaugh with Schoen or Harbaugh and Joe Schoen's out.
Which I have no idea. Well, I was going to say I have no idea how he's kept his job, but he doesn't have a whole bunch of misses necessarily in the draft. It's not like he's missed on a whole bunch of draft picks. Yeah, the re-signing of Saquon's the one that always stands out, but it's not like he's
re-signing of him.
And then I guess I got to figure out what year it was when he originally got there. But I mean, it's not like he's been just brutal in the draft.
He's picking top 5 every year.
Yeah, I know, right?
But he's still not missing.
Yeah, can't. You better not be missing it.
I don't disagree. Yeah. But it's not like it's Trubisky he's drafting.
Yes, that's right. But they got their Patrick Mahomes now. Or better, actually, some would say, based on one throw. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling more zone next.
FanDuel is turning on playoff mode, something the Giants don't know anything about, nor I guess Harbaugh this year. All customers get a profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. Each game day during the divisional round, you'll find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the app. This means more boosts, more ways to level up your playoff bets. So pick the matchups that you believe in or the ones that you can fade me in. So take your shot on an upset or build a parlay that fits the moment. Now that the Broncos are back to being favorites, I like the Bills even more. Give me the Bills on the road. Patriots, Texans, New England, -3 is what the line currently is at. I like the Texans with the points. Outright, I don't know. Don't know if I can get there, but I do like them with that 3. That's what I will be rolling with. So, if you want to do something along those lines, you can apply your profit boost and go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs keep rolling. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/local and grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. So news with the Baltimore Ravens and a guy locally that I would like the Chiefs to go and hire, but good luck with that, apparently. What's going on with the Ravens?
So, per Adam Schefter, the Pittsburgh Steelers' first...
Oh, Steelers, that's what I meant.
The Pittsburgh Steelers' first known head coach interview request is for Rams passing game coordinator Nate Scheelhaase, per source. Baltimore, Cleveland, and Vegas have also requested interviews with him during this hiring cycle.
I wish there was a way that I could, transform, an alien into somebody else's body. And during that interview process with Nathan Scheelhaase, just be like, look, here's the thing. We'd love to hire you. And at a different time, it might work. But what we think you're missing is working with a different coach, at least for a year. Like a different coach. You've been around Sean McVay.
Like a veteran coach with a good mustache.
That maybe has already won a Super Bowl before. If you add that to your resume, it can really diversify what you offer, and I think that would be the difference for you.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to the next interview, then transform, shape-shift into that person.
Yes.
And then offer the same thing. Here's the thing. What we're noticing about this is the diversity of your background.
And you don't know burgers very well. We need you to know burgers a lot better.
Yeah, the Big Kahuna burger, a lot of different types of burgers. That's that Hawaiian joint, right? Yeah. Well, all different types of burgers that you need to figure out and understand what they are.
We need you to wear more Air Force Ones with Hawaiian shirts.
Right. Nate, is In-N-Out overrated? Yes? Okay, you got the job.
Stop. No.
You got the job.
Stop.
You got the job.
Skip. Come on.
Skip.
In-N-Out is not overrated.
Well, then you don't have the job. Sorry. Then you're fired.
Fine.
You can't fire me because I quit.
That's just dumb, because then you don't get severance.
You know what? I'm hiring you just to fire you.
But the point remains, Nathan Scheelhaase doesn't look like it's going to be good for KC.
But good for us. Mick Schaefer next.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hanging out with Mick Schaefer, KSHB 41 Sports Director, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Each and every time Mick Schaefer joins us here in the Zone, a Wednesday edition today, hanging out with Mick. Hello, Mick. How are you?
What's going on, fellas? How we doing?
Oh, you know what? I'm doing fine. I'm doing real fine. I don't think I'm doing as well as KU fans are doing after last night's incredible performance.
I was there.
Were you really? Were you there?
We were there. We left.
Were you sitting behind Bill Self, waving at the camera?
The whole time.
Sitting behind Jay Billis, and when they showed him, it was like, hi, making weird little faces at the camera, doing that.
I was the one that pulled the plug, and because of that, they only had one camera the entire
time. Yet
that was me.
I thought it was odd that, because I wasn't able to listen to it. I was at little man's basketball practice, so I'm watching on my phone, and I see in the top left corner that says technical difficulties, yet I'm watching the game. And then I turn it up, and I can hear them talking, but I didn't realize that was the technical difficulties until later on.
They had no other cameras going.
Yeah, I didn't even notice that.
I don't know how.
Replays and all of that stuff.
Someone just probably forgot them. And they're like, hey,
the cameras.
No, it was a fiber issue.
I'm kidding, but how funny, someone forgot them, so instead of throwing them under the bus, just be like, sorry, guys, technical difficulties.
Yep,
instead of being like, Mike has them back home, and he's going to go back and get them.
We haven't eaten enough grains. It's
a
fiber
issue. They had to wait on
issue.
another truck to come from Kansas City, so that's why they had it the second half. I don't understand how one fiber issue can knock out, usually it's 5 or 6 cameras. So 5 cameras, but the main one is still good to go.
So they weren't as regular as you would hope in that with the different cameras that they had.
No, and that was a big boy ESPN broadcast.
Yeah.
That was not just Shulman and Billis, but all the the top producer, director, all those guys.
Yeah, so a little surprising there.
What would they have done if no cameras would have worked? Does the game still go on?
Yes. Yeah.
Do we think they would have pushed it, or the game
we
would have
offered? We had our own cameras there and our TVU backpacks. We're like, hey, we can get out there and shoot.
Yeah. Did they take you up on the offer?
Camera.
Yeah.
Just as long as you put it on 41.
I mean, most of these schools now have their own in-house camera equipment, so I wonder if they would just plug into that and take those feeds for a while until they get the problem
until they figure
resolved.
That out. That would be disappointing.
To answer your question,
if that was the case. That ticket would have been a whole lot more expensive if you would have known you couldn't watch it, at that point.
And nobody watched it, and at the end they see the score, no way that happened. BS.
On.
Put an asterisk next to that game.
Happening. Jeez,
it's like a Will Chamberlain 100-point game.
Yeah, BS.
Come on.
Yeah, if it's not on video, then if it's not video proof, and I don't need it to be AI generated video proof because it's video proof. But then was it real video proof or not? I don't know.
I woke up with my head sewn to the carpet. Surprised on that one.
I said to start the show, I said typically if I'm ever surprised by a KU performance at Allen Fieldhouse, it's because they lost unexpectedly to a team they should have beaten. Yeah. And it's like, wow, that was a surprising no-show by KU. And that team came into Allen Fieldhouse and wasn't intimidated, and they won the game, and et cetera, et cetera. BYU 2 years ago with Mark Pope as their coach. Like, wow, they came in and beat KU. That's really surprising. I don't know that I've ever been surprised in a KU dominant win at home the way that I was last night.
Have they ever been unranked facing an undefeated at home?
This late in the season? Yeah.
They're unranked. Iowa State's undefeated.
Yeah.
And it was never close. I mean, the run, if you want to call it that, at the beginning of the second half, Iowa State got to 11. And that was it. Yeah. And immediately, KU answers with a 13-0 run. And they were done.
Yeah, it was just watching the game. I think there was an early indication that this thing was going to be a little bit different because, Michael.
They didn't make about every shot in the first half. That always helps.
But I think that does help a little bit.
10 shots
and 10 turnovers.
10
for
turnovers for
Iowa
a guy,
State. Yeah.
A team that doesn't do that.
But I think one of the things that stood out immediately, and we were talking about this, and Michael, the resident Jayhawker. We were looking at, it's like, when's the last time you saw a performance like that from KU? Like a couple of years? In that they came out, they were the urgency, the aggressiveness, the energy it was a little surprising that Iowa State didn't match that. But KU looked at that game clearly and said, this game means a whole lot more to us than it means to you.
Yeah.
And I don't know the last time I've seen KU come out like that and a performance like that against, the number 2 undefeated team in the country in the last couple of years. But
Arizona on
amazing.
senior night last year at home was a surprising win. I did not think, and they turned right around and lost to Arizona at Kansas City. That's one, but it wasn't dominant like this was.
Yeah, like this was just from the get-go. They started out on that 44-23 run in the first 20 minutes.
That's right. They ended the game on an 84-63 run.
That was what was crazy. Is they had a 40-minute run of 84-63.
It's amazing.
Pretty good.
That's a great run. It's a really good run, sustained run. And the problem is not necessarily the 63 if you're Iowa State. It's
I like
the 84.
to divide the game into 40-minute segments, okay? That's how to chop it up. That's how I see things, okay?
It's what every coach says. Those 4 D-minute segments that you look at, not the 4 minutes of TV timeouts. It's the 4 D minutes of the game that you break it into. And KU went on that 84-63 run in 40 minutes, and Iowa State couldn't answer after that.
Same thing with the Chiefs. Where things went wrong this season is that time between weeks 1 and 18.
Right in between there.
That segment of the season was the worst part.
Yeah, when you book in the week 1 and 18 with losses, that's not really the worst part. It was the between that they also lost a lot of games.
Okay, serious part, I think for Kansas, the biggest thing was they learned how to play with Darren Peterson offensively.
Yeah.
He had 6 points at halftime, right? And they were dominant, right? He just kind of blended in.
It wasn't
for a
the
half,
Darren Peterson show.
Right, it wasn't.
Go be you.
He got his.
Yeah.
What did he end up with?
16.
Is that it?
16 on 15 shots. So it was even an inefficient night for Darren Peterson.
No.
And they scored 84 points. Like that to me is that was I think the consensus takeaway is they score 84 points and it wasn't 37 or 38 from Darren Peterson.
7 dudes played. They played 7 guys,
which
they scrunched that rotation.
I've said that's my concern for Kansas making it through the Big 12. Not as much when it gets tournament time, but when it gets through the Big 12, the long, grueling, conference season, if you only have 7 guys and no really backup bigs you trust, that makes it very difficult.
The Big's one thing. They have other guys. Cole Rosario didn't play.
Yeah.
Because he's been bad, though. And it's not that's the issue, is they've been bad.
Who's the other guy? I'm sorry, that didn't play. I can't remember. That usually does. But
it was. I'm with you now. I gotta look up the name because I'm blanking. I'm blanking.
But I would
blanking.
offer.
I'm blanking.
A lot of those KU players have been bad. I mean, look at what Flory Badunga has not done.
Struggled.
Right.
But this game was an aggressive.
Fine. Yeah.
And
better.
again, the box scores look similar for Flory, so it makes it difficult, I think, for people to understand if you don't watch the games. I think Flory in this one was way more aggressive and way more energetic in this one, and a big thing for him was only 1 foul.
Jaden Dawson.
Yeah.
Jaden Dawson.
That's it. Jaden Dawson didn't play. Yeah.
And then Tiller's been up and down. I think Marco Jackson, you never know what you're going to get. He was great last night.
They had
Didn't
16
score, but he was, made, hustle plays.
Well, they had 16 bench points last night, and that's typically a issue for Kansas.
2 guys,
it was 2 guys.
Well, I know, but they typically have a major issue of bench points. We talked about it when they lost to was it TCU? Maybe they only had like 2 off the bench, and another game they had 0. It's like they don't get many bench points. So 16, even if it's only a 7-man rotation, that's a positive for Kansas.
And I thought Council looked good while Peterson was on the floor. We hadn't really seen a whole lot of that.
Right. Like, how do they coexist? It wasn't what it's felt like a Darren Peterson and 4 guys on the floor when he's playing, and then 5 guys as a team on the floor when Darren Peterson's on the bench. It wasn't that. It was like, okay, Darren Peterson's good, but it wasn't I think one of the perfect example of what the KU team felt like when Darren Peterson was out there as they were trying to get used to it was that TCU game where Darren Peterson checked himself out. There was, 2.5 minutes to go, 3 minutes to go, whatever it was, and El Marco throws the ball to him, and he's not paying attention. And to me, that was such a symptom of what or how they were playing, is that they got the offensive rebound, deep offensive rebound. El Marco has it in the backcourt, and his first instinct is, well, I got to throw it to Darren Peterson. Not, I can bring the ball up here and set it up. And Darren Peterson was like, well, there's no reason for him to throw it to me right now. I can look over and check myself out. And Elmarco's going, I got to throw it. I got to get it to Peterson. We got the ball back. Go, Darren. Like, that was a symptom of how they were playing.
I've chalked that up to it was in the back court and Darren thought it was going to be over and back. That's my hope, and not like he's just turning away from action and a play.
I just didn't think he thought that Elmarco was going to throw him the ball at that point, because what's the point of throwing him the ball at that point? Elmarco can just bring it up. Yeah. But I think that was sort of a symptom overall, is that Elmarco said, I've got the ball. Ooh, Darren's right there. Let me throw it to him. And he wasn't looking because, but that wasn't necessarily the case of, well, Darren's out here. He's got to get the ball. Let's throw it to him. Okay, I got the ball right back. Okay, well, now let me throw it to him. Let's screen for him. And everything is, in orbit of Darren Peterson. It was Darren Peterson with everybody, and that's how it's got to be. And also the energy and everything.
And also, they hit shots. They hit shots. You get momentum, and that building will win you a game, right? That building won them the TCU game. The players won it yesterday. But once that ball was rolling, it was impossible for Iowa State to stop it. I think I was talking with Gurley today. These next three games are, like saying golf parlance, it's moving day. Saturday's moving day.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
This is kind of moving day, I think. These are huge to go into that gauntlet of February, and these are all games you can lose.
Yep.
Like Self said, this conference is a lot of times when you're a good conference, you're top heavy and you're bottom heavy. This is top heavy, middle heavy, bottom heavy. There's no
a lot. They're sturdy. They're all heavy.
They're all heavy.
Yeah,
they've all been fed.
It's not like
fed.
It's not top heavy like the Kool-Aid Man, where
you think
knock him over and he
Colorado,
falls,
like you kind of snicker at Colorado. They're like 12-4.
But also, it's a 10 o'clock Central Time tip in Colorado.
Yes.
So,
K-State's going to be backed into a corner, fighting for their lives at that point. Baylor can beat anybody.
I do think that Bill Self had a change offensively with this team, and I think we've seen this in the NBA, actually. You guys see what Trae Young was traded for. You guys see what teams are doing now. Now they're trying to get rid of not Lonzo Ball, but who's the other Ball?
LaMelo
Ball. Who you look at the numbers, you're like, this is insane. That's no longer the focal point. When you have one guy who is just a ball-centric player, it makes it
pun intended.
It makes it very difficult unless you have four guys. Like, I know we can talk about SGA and OKC, but the ball movement and rotation, it's not just SGA and guys. It's five guys that play well together. They were doing a little bit, in my opinion, Bill Self and this Kansas team, when Darren Peterson was on the floor, it was just, hey, you're basically Trae Young, your ball. Everyone else just stands around, and while you'll get your numbers, what happens when you go out? What happens when you need to try and move the ball when you're getting doubled? And I think this is the first game where we saw an evolution with Darren Peterson and the other guys. You almost want Melvin Council to have the ball in his hands and be the point guard, and Darren Peterson be the off-ball guy. Yeah. Because when he catches the ball now, what happens? Well, now he has the defender either rise and shoot, or he's going to be off balance because he can drive around him.
Or you can drive to Darren Peterson's side, and that defender is not going to dig or come off and help at all, because you're not letting one of the best shooters in Darren Peterson, an easy scorer, get the ball in an advantageous position where you're trying to then, scramble and get back in defensive
This game's
spot.
not the best example of it, but would you rather have, Melvin Council drive and dish to Darren Peterson, or Darren Peterson drive and kick to Melvin Council for a three? Again, this game, Melvin Council was the one that was more efficient, but traditionally speaking, you're going to want to have him drive, who's great getting downhill, and kick to Darren Peterson.
By the way, quick aside with LaMelo, before this basketball season, little man needed new basketball shoes, and so we were heading to get him some shoes, and he wanted the new Mellows, and I thought, Carmelo hasn't played in 3 years, and they're still and kids still are getting the Mellow shoes.
I would believe that over LaMelo Ball having in his own shoe.
Oh, it's a very popular shoe.
Okay,
it's a very popular shoe. So he's got the he wanted the Mellows. They're very colorful.
Lonzo and LaMelo is the youngest. There's a middle one,
LiAngelo.
And did he ever make the league?
Did he ever make it back from China?
I think he's a rapper.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Weird. I haven't heard of him then.
So he went the Kadarius Toney route.
Yeah.
Okay. So did he choose rapping because he wanted to do that over the NBA, or did the NBA choose rapping for him?
NBA chose rapping for him.
Okay, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Not according to his dad.
Of course.
According to his dad, he was too good for the NBA.
Undefeated.
I'll give him credit.
Give him credit.
2 dudes went to the NBA.
Oh, yeah, 3 almost.
Yeah, so I'll give him credit. He might be a little over the top and eccentric and all that stuff, but there's some results.
And his son has both of them have very popular shoes, and there's those Mellows. So I don't know.
But
I
it's
thought it was
not
Carmelo.
big baller brand, shockingly.
LaMelo's way better than Lonzo, right? Because
Lonzo had so many injuries.
Yeah, he just leveled out. I thought he had just a high ceiling, man. I think he's going to be so good.
Well, that was what
he was a great passer, great
passer.
He was almost that almost like Jason Kidd, where it was like a triple-double kind of guy.
Thank you for that. We were talking the other day. Why are there no great passers in basketball anymore? And by great, I'm saying maybe more flashy. There's not Jason Kidds. There's not Gottlieb's balls. Jason Williams.
White Chocolate.
Well, he was flashy, though.
Why are they not flashy? Guys like that.
Lonzo, LaMelo Ball's like that. Trae Young was a little like
Magic,
that.
where you're
LaMelo Ball's like that.
doing all the different things with the basketball.
Kyrie.
Name a guy in college right now in the last few years we've had. There's none.
The guy from K-State, small guy, Knowles. Noel.
Yeah. He was flashy. I don't know.
Noel Williams?
No, the little
not
dude.
Marcus Noel.
No, it's
Marquise Noel.
Marquise Noel. Yeah, thank you.
Noel.
Thank you. That was thanks. Sorry, Wildcats.
Thanks
for that.
Thank you.
And one isn't around anymore.
They didn't see
Right,
Escalade. They
So-
didn't see
The
Escalade
professor.
doing that. Yeah.
The professor was
Professor was
doing
doing
that.
it.
He's still
half
around.
man, half amazing. You know what I mean? Skip to my
and
Lou.
my theories are, defensive basketball has been elevated. It's gotten a lot better, and there are teams that realize, okay, you got to do that. And it's harder to pull that off.
It's funny right now. You look at the NBA, scoring is way up, but defense is also way up.
Yeah.
Like you watch it, and a lot of the reason why teams are scoring more is because they're
More
forcing
possessions.
more turnovers,
Yeah.
more possessions. OKC and the Spurs and some of these other teams, they found out that hey, you need to get quick. There's no posting up, and it's just a lot different game.
Well,
There's great passers because a lot of times the best pass is the easiest pass, and guys see the floor and understand what's going on.
And big guys can pass now.
John Stockton was a great passer, but not what I'm talking about. Like a flashy passer, like a kid, like some of
Nikola
these guys.
Jokic.
Is he flashy like that?
Oh yeah,
He's got some behind the back and some no looks, and Sabonis has a little bit of a that dad.
Kid was amazing.
Not your Vetus, not my Vetus, but our Vetus.
Our Vetus Sabonis, yeah.
Kid would pull up passes that you wouldn't see at home. Like when you had the wide look there, you would see out of nowhere, right? Where'd that guy come from? He was.
Yeah, we need another Pistol Pete. Why don't we have one with Pistol Pete? Yeah. It is one of the points that I hate about when it's
Gottlieb too, because nobody would guard him because he couldn't.
Right.
Which would open up way more passing lanes. He got way better as a passer because nobody's on him. Like, okay, well I can just here and I have all these angles now.
He would throw the ball behind his back. He would do things backwards. He would wear shorts backwards. He would do a lot of things.
He did that. All the stuff backwards.
Everything was back. He's like crisscross.
Hit me to it.
That's right.
I'll make you jump.
Yes. I think there's, I hate the, I don't watch the league because they don't play defense. Well, then you how do you know? Because you don't watch the league. Like skill is so, like this, the skill level of basketball players is what it's never been before, which makes it harder to play defense. And defenders are as good as they've ever been before as well. I think part of the sort of the passing and the flat, I think there's so many combo guards now. So much of when you handle the ball, you're a scorer.
Sure.
Instead of like, I handle the ball and my job is to find the different angles to get that guy open. My job is, well, I can drive and create, but then I can dish it to that guy, or I'm driving and getting to my spot to knock down the shot. So much of that is like that combo guard. Can you get both? Can
And
you
a
get
lot
the
of
point guard
offense
score?
and a lot of offense is drive and dish, right? Is it just 4 out, right? We're going to dribble drive as opposed to, there's a lot less Princeton backdoor offenses back in the day and, spacing and all that stuff.
They need more Princeton offense in the NBA.
They do.
God, that would be amazing. So go get you the new LaMelos.
Okay.
The son, he loves them. He likes them. It's pretty good.
I'm going to get the Leangelo album. I'm going to use that money and get his album.
You know what we should do?
What's more expensive, the LaMelo ball or the Leangelo?
I think the shoes. I would
the
hope
shoes
the
are pretty.
shoes.
Yeah, the shoes are pretty expensive. Let me tell you.
You know what you do?
Little hit to the wallet.
Next ZOU, whoever gets last has to listen to the entire Leangelo Ball album and write a
While
review.
doing the Waffle House challenge.
I was going to say, can I just do the Waffle House challenge? Can I just do that?
I come back. You know what? Actually, pretty good.
Yeah.
Can I do the stupid the program and just lay down in the middle of the street that they did in the movie? Remember that in the movie in the program when
okay.
when they were just
talking about the
Yeah, I think you're talking about the show. Like
Curtis had to do
Curtis,
that?
which is laying in the street.
No,
They'll be laying in the street.
yeah. So in the program,
Dancing in the Street.
Dancing in the
Okay,
Street,
they did
yeah, I can't
that
sing.
randomly and really
So I play drums.
stupid. I wouldn't suggest doing that for anybody. But they did that in the movie. But I'd rather do that than listen to that whatever album it is. So it's just me.
Would you listen to the Ball album or me try and sing "Lane in the Street" remix?
I'm right here listening. Laying in this.
I think I'd rather listen to you.
Yeah, I think so
Wow.
too.
All right.
Tough.
These next, I asked.
Real Sophie's
I
choice.
serve two
I
evils.
asked Michael, and I asked Jack, and I'll ask Mick, because Sterling and I weighed in as well.
I'll do it. Yes, I'm in.
You mentioned your conversation with Greg Gurley and what these next 3 games are. Baylor on Friday at home, and then at Colorado on Tuesday with a 10 Central tip, and then Kansas State on Saturday on the road, 7 o'clock on Fox. On the main, there's no football on. 7 o'clock that night, Kansas State. Bramlage is going to be unbelievable that night. So I asked Michael and Jack, what's reasonable and what do you think they should be getting ready for BYU on the 31st? 3-0 in these next 3 games, or do you accept 2-1? Jack said, I'm a harsh critic. I think they should go 3-0. Michael said 2-1 because it's not just going out there in Kansas of old where they're just going to chalk up a win, you know.
Well, I mean,
I said 2-1.
So it's Colorado. I would. UCF and TCU are the same type games as those. They basically
West
Virginia. I mean, no. I would, if I'm a Key fan, I'm thrilled at 2-1.
I think
Thrilled at 2-1.
I think
The way
2-1.
I mean, here's the deal with this team. I know we're kind of prisoners of the moment. We're coming off the high from last night. Hey, they're back. They're going to be this. I'm going to need to see more of that on a consistent basis. I'm going to need to see this team win on the road.
Yeah.
It has not been good the last few years on the road.
Well, and I think part of the conversation coming out of last night is how often can Kansas get to that level? Like,
great question. Honestly, I would not be surprised if they have a better February than they do January. That they get up more for the Arizonas, the Houstons, the Texas Techs, the return to Iowa State than it is at West Virginia. Oh, I'm in Boulder and the time is not right.
the time isn't right.
All those.
It's fake time.
Yeah.
Fake time. It's fake time.
Time.
I don't get it with the time
Time's a
zones.
social construct.
I think this
flat circle.
At this point with this team, and I reserve the right to change my mind, but keep your head above water in Big 12 play, and you're doing okay. You're doing good.
Yeah. I think there's a
As opposed, be 4-3, 5-4,
yeah
6-4, 7-6, just 6-7. Don't be 6-7.
Don't do that. Don't be 6-7.
And because I thought last night was a huge swing game. Like if you're 1-3, and with that those games
and the one
left,
you came back from with the crazy a 1-3, damn near 0-4,
a miracle away from being 0-4. Yeah, that you're, God forbid, maybe in danger of missing the tournament.
At that point, it's like, where's the bubble at? I think there's certainly a possibility, and there's a world where in 2 weeks we look back and go, where did that KU team go?
Yeah.
Like that KU team that night. Why was it only one night?
I've seen a lot more of not that team. So,
and I think that Kansas State game in Manhattan. I think Kansas State has 3 games where UCF tonight at home, they are favored.
Who's favored?
K-State's favored. Sorry, they as in K-State by 1.5.
I think UCF's one of those teams that's going to just be Jekyll and Hyde, home or away. They look very different.
And they're number 25 right now, so it would be a top 25 win. It'd be nice for K-State. They go to Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State is terrible. I thought UCF was.
They were last week. I think they might have dropped out.
Yeah, my bad.
Come on,
I'm talking to a voter here.
Where'd you have UCF?
I think I had them ranked still. Dude, I blew up the back half of my poll. Everybody lost, and so.
Yeah, no, they fell out.
You had 9.
K-State's out, or KU's out too.
Yeah, so if K-State wins tonight, it doesn't matter now
ninth.
because UCF is.
I was like, let's try this out.
UCF no longer 25.
I
it
dropped
doesn't matter.
7 teams out last week. I replaced 7 teams.
So you had just a top 18? You didn't even release your top 25. It was just a top 18.
It was
Sorry.
so easy. I got to 14 last week. I'm like, this is gonna be an easy week. And then 2 hours later,
oh my God,
I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, you don't deserve to be in my poll, but I don't know who to bring
Who
in.
am I going to put in my poll?
And I did. I brought in like Texas A&M, and who almost rewarded me last night. By the way, they should have won.
That was close
in Knoxville.
So UCF tonight, they are favored. Now that they're not ranked, it won't be a good win at all for K-State. Win that one against. They were ranked last week. Now they suck. Oklahoma State on the road. Speaking of a team that sucks, on Saturday. And then Utah at home, which is the worst team in the Big 12.
Yeah.
So there is an opportunity here for a team that is 0-3 to somehow piece it together and say, this is our run. And if you could, in a perfect world for K-State right now.
Utah's the worst team in the Big 12 right now. I thought it was going to be Arizona State, and then they beat K-State.
Yeah.
And I'm hiding my eyes, but I'm worried that K-State might be the worst team in the Big 12.
These next 3 weeks, if K-State can find a way to turn it on. Again, perfect world. They're 3-3.
It's a rivalry game. I mean, regardless
Getting
of the
ready
record,
for
I would not be
Kansas.
surprised if K-State shows up for that game.
And they've got scores. They got guys that could score. They don't want to play defense.
They don't want to play defense at all.
They certainly have guys
They're
that can
not into
score.
that.
And so, we'll see what happens. But that's a massive game, January 24th, and it'll be interesting to see what happens along the way to get there. And now tonight, Mizzou's got Auburn, and can they bounce back at home from the Ole Miss loss? They just didn't play well down the stretch, and what do they do against Auburn?
If you're Mizzou, you bounce back. You don't win tonight. You're 3-1.
Oh yeah,
take it. I mean, you would have taken that, but absolutely taking that going in. Looking at those first 4 games, you might not have picked the one loss there, but yeah, I think they have a chance to get back right
that
tonight.
would probably be the team that I would least expect them. That I would have thought that'd be their only win. At
Auburn,
which one?
Or Ole Miss.
Yeah, because Auburn was a ranked team not long ago.
And they just waxed Arkansas, right?
They did, yeah.
Oh, they destroyed it by 20-plus points.
So, I mean, I would have thought that if they would have said those 4 games, what does Mizzou look like? 1-3 with a win versus Ole Miss, and it might be the exact opposite.
Well, and their 2 losses in conference are on the road at Georgia in overtime and at home to A&M by 2.
Yeah.
And then they waxed Arkansas. So they're a good team. They just haven't knocked off.
They're in
beaten
that boat with
good teams until Arkansas.
Florida,
and
KU.
Florida's better than that.
Well, they got back in. Last week they have been. A team that has taken way more losses than their talent.
Sure.
Should have, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, Florida's a top 25 team. They just haven't spent a whole lot of time in there or they've been bouncing in and out.
And the teams they've played have been like top 10 teams.
I would put Alabama and Tennessee in that boat just because I dropped both of them in my poll this week. I'm like, you got to win some games at some point.
Auburn beat NC State and St. John's in the non-con tournament, whatever it was. And then since then, they've gotten beat by every good team they played until last night against Arkansas.
And those NC State too, but especially the St. John's wins that everybody has.
Yeah.
Is like, okay, well
maybe
they were ranked, I guess.
Maybe there wasn't. I would like to still.
Congrats on that win.
Dante Moore is returning to Oregon next year.
What?
You son of a gun.
No.
Wait, didn't they just get Raiola?
Well, they got Dante Moore to back up Dylan Gabriel. So did they get Raiola to back up Dante Moore now? So Raiola is now going to spend a year backing up Dante Moore?
Do we think Raiola leaves?
I mean, if I'm Raiola, did I sign the deal? And if I did, can you let me out of it? Well, Austin Simmons has already signed his deal. Dante Moore will return to Oregon next season. He's like, I ain't going to be a Jet. You kidding me? I'm not going to be Jet. So that sucks for the Chiefs.
That's shocking. I thought this was all just a boilerplate, hey, appreciate Oregon for all you've done. Thanks, but it's time for that next step.
Nope. Dante Moore.
Make more money.
Screwing over the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's one less quarterback to be taken.
God, that sucks.
But what do you... has Ty Simpson made up his mind?
He is. He's announced that he's going pro, but he was also weighing that he's been offered upwards of $6 million to return to play for a different team. Maybe
Miami. This maybe changes things if you're now you're the number 2
Dante Moore's
quarterback.
out. Yeah, am I the number 2 quarterback now?
If so, someone's gonna take.
Trinidad Chambliss did not win his
He'll be in there.
Yeah, so is he in there? So then is Chambliss number 2? But also, just because you're the number 2 quarterback doesn't mean you're going the top 10. Damn you, Dante.
It usually does, though, right? When was the last time
Typically it does.
The number 2 quarterback has fallen out of the top 10.
Well, I know the number 1 quarterback was Kenny Pickett a number of years ago at Pittsburgh at number 20. That was the first.
Oh, he was
taken.
the first quarterback taken.
Yeah, and it was pick 20 because it was like Malik Willis and Kenny Pickett, and then Malik Willis went like third round.
That would have been like
2020.
2020.
It was like 2020. Yeah.
No, well, that's Burrow's year, right? Was that number 1 over here? Maybe
no,
21?
2022.
2022. Yeah,
Okay.
2022 is when they took Kenny Pickett.
So not that long ago. To answer my own question.
We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Rotten Tomatoes next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer is hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. It is time for some Rotten Tomatoes. You ready to play this, Sterling?
Let's get
Do you know how
rotten.
we play? Do you know how we play the game?
Yeah, since I created the game.
Oh, okay. That's right. You did, actually.
He
never mind.
created the website, actually.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you created the game. And he did actually create the game. Whatever.
So what we do is we pick 2 movies apiece. We'll go around the room. First time, you'll go and try and answer the popcorn meter, which is what the audience is.
That's
then
right.
we will do the tomato meter,
Okay,
which is
fantastic.
what the critics think. The closest one to it gets a point. You get it right on the nose, you get 2 points.
How about that?
You have to be 3 points away, though, from the next person's guess.
Okay, percentage
And
points.
you have to be within 25
of getting a point at all.
Yep. All right, so let's play. I'll go first here. My theme is going to be, well, you don't have to have a theme, but I typically come up with a theme. My theme is going to have to do with all of these coaching changes and things going on in the NFL. Michael has...
I also had...
Yeah, but you do crappy movies, though.
I've seen both of the movies that I picked.
My first one is Coach Carter.
Okay.
Whew.
Love Coach
All
Carter.
right. In 1999, Ken Carter, Samuel L. Jackson, returns to his old high school in Richmond, California to get the basketball team into shape.
I didn't know his first name.
Academic discipline. Samuel L. Jackson, you didn't know that? You just thought it was L. Jackson?
Ken Carter. I
What
thought,
does the L stand for? Do we know?
Lewis.
Guessing, or do you know?
I'm guessing.
Okay.
He succeeds in setting the players on a winning streak, but the grade starts to suffer, and Carter locks him out of the gym and shuts down the championship season. Coach Carter, what did the critics think of Coach Carter, Coach Sterling?
Leroy. It's Leroy.
Oh, how about that?
Nice.
Samuel Leroy.
Bad Leroy Jackson.
That's Jim Croce. I will go 83%.
83 for you.
I'll say 90.
90% for you.
I never saw it. 80%.
Mick, I was trying to remember it's 63.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a great movie. I love this movie.
Yes, I agree. But was it a cult classic?
Yeah,
I feel like it's better if you haven't seen the movie. I'm learning this.
We're learning
right?
this,
Yes.
yeah.
All right. What are by the way, the viewers, over 250,000 ratings of Coach Carter on the viewers. What did the tomato meter think, or popcorn meter, I should say, Michael?
87.
75?
75?
82.
Split down the middle.
Michael gets the point, 85.
Son of a...
If you went 84, you would have got the point. You went 82.
You went 80.
You went 84, you were going to get the point. 85%.
Son of a...
That even still feels low. That's a really good movie.
Great movie.
Yeah.
People don't know ball.
I still haven't seen it.
Watch it.
Yeah, you should check it out.
That's actually
Still
one.
haven't
This is actually a
seen
movie
it.
that I love that I'm not joking about. That's actually like Pootie Tang, where it's bad. Which is a great movie, by the way.
I don't think Coach Carter is anything like Pootie Tang.
No, it's not. But
I haven't seen either, so maybe there's sequels. I don't know.
Sequels. Coach Carter, Pootie Tang 2. No, Pootie Tang 2, Coach Carter. All right, what's your movie, Sterling?
Coaching the Tang.
Brennan and Dale have one thing in common.
Oh, we've not done this before?
We haven't done this one yet?
They are both lazy,
bet we
unemployed
have.
leeches who still live with their parents. When Brennan's mother and Dale's father marry and move in together, turns these overgrown boys' world upside down. Step Brothers.
One's 39 years old, one's 40 in that.
Not going to call him Dad, even if there's a
Even
fire.
if there's a fire.
Michael, what did the critics think of Step Brothers?
95.
It was me, Johnny Hopkins, and Sloan Kettering.
Sloan Kettering. I smoked weed with Johnny Hopkins.
Which I learned both are hospitals, by the way.
We make our own beef jerky.
What'd
We go
you
riverboat gambling. We pee with the door open.
We've literally
I changed the
done
TBS.
none of that.
I did the TBS version of We Pee with the Door Open.
Are you so sweaty?
We're going to have to...
I know the cop doesn't come on till 4.
What'd you go with, Michael? What'd you say?
I said 95.
Oh, I will go 60.
70.
54.
Dang it.
Yeah.
As a
I
high
thought it was
schooler
going to
with
be
a
in
comedy.
As a high
Yeah,
school with a drum
yeah.
set, this was a horrible movie for me.
What?
What?
You thought it
As
was a
a high
horrible movie?
schooler,
You
no.
didn't like it?
I love this movie. But as a high schooler with
Oh,
a
so
drum
kids
set,
came over and did that to your drum set?
Touched his drum set.
That's hilarious.
the amount of times I heard...
I'm going to come over
What
and
was
put
that
my
song?
on your drum set.
That song, whenever like they would get an ISO of the cymbal,
Yeah.
and then it showed the Martian brains on the
Yeah.
cymbal.
Bocelli,
Man.
Andre Bocelli.
Did I got that one? Okay,
yep.
cool.
Mick, you got that point.
And I'm going.
You're going with the fans.
See, I'm not going to explain till later my thoughts on this, and only will I later if I win. That was 54. 66.
81.
89.
69.
Dang it! It was right there for me.
It was there for someone.
69 was available, and I turned it down.
How great is it? 69.
Well, that's been. I mean, a lot of Will Ferrell comedies, a lot of Adam Sandler comedies. People don't really love the first time around.
Yeah,
but you watch it on repeat. You get the cadence of it. You know what's going to happen. You know the lines, and so that's why I went low.
Nice job.
I wanted to go 100, 100.
I mean, it should be. It absolutely should be 100, 100. Mick, what's your first movie?
So
sorry, Michael's
yes,
first
Michael.
movie.
Yep.
I apologize.
So I also have the theme of the NFL coaching carousel. My first movie's Fired Up, which
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen the movie.
Never
but
heard of it.
High school football stars Sean Koufax and Nick Brady are dreading another summer at football camp, and then Nick hatches a brilliant scheme to enroll at cheerleading camp instead. It's a movie from the, oh my gosh, it's later than I thought, 2009.
Yep.
It's called Fired
I've
Up.
never heard of any of his movies.
Yep, saw it in the theaters.
Yes.
Yep, I have seen
Came
this
out
movie.
in April.
I have seen this
April
movie.
2009. I was there. I remember it.
I have seen this movie.
Never heard of it.
Michael's movies are either 99 or 1. Fired Up. Was it a comedy? What was it? What were we calling that?
Yes, it was a comedy.
I thought it was kind of funny.
42%.
17.
Yeah, 22.
25.
Dang it! It went way too high. I should have done
Dang
better.
it.
But was it a cult classic?
Was it a cult classic?
22.
37.
What was the popcorn?
22. Or 25.
Tomato meter was 25.
22, 30.
And I went 22.
19.
52%.
No.
Oh,
So
dang
gets
it. I had two ways to go.
Yeah.
The wrong way.
That's anytime Michael's like, yeah, it was a comedy. I thought it was kind of funny. All right, 15%. I mean, I've never heard of it, and you're like, it was kind of funny. I've seen it once.
It's one of those obscure B-level movies that you see
sounds
on,
like the critics thought it was a D-level movie or an F-level
deep
movie.
in the HBO Max files.
Yeah, it was not good.
All right,
Funny,
Nick, your first movie.
Marty Mauser, a young man with a dream no one respects, goes to hell and back in pursuit of greatness. This is Marty Supreme. This is in honor of the Golden Globes, in honor of Nikki Glaser.
Yeah, I like it.
That's my theme. So Marty Supreme starring Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, Chalamet. Yep. Timothy Chalamet.
Yes.
It's the
Timothy, that's right.
It's the emphasis on the right syllable.
Ian Peele. Timothy.
When did it come out? This is
It's out.
82?
It's playing right now in
1982?
Yes. It won some awards the other day.
93.
Yeah, one award.
It's over.
Oh, 93?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's
All right.
It's probably a horrible movie, but it came out and it's won these awards.
He's like a ping pong player, I think, right?
Oh, really?
Oh, that sounds even worse.
Well, so was Forrest Gump,
so the people are going to act smart that they like it too. 93.
82.
Over. You got it. On the dot.
Wow.
Dot.
Back to
Throwing
back
darts.
dots. That now makes it 3-3 to 2-2.
We're going to have to rip through these.
Okay, let's rip through these then. My second movie is In Virginia, high school football is a way of life, an institution revered. Each game celebrated more lavishly than Christmas. Each playoff distinguished. 1971, high school football, everything was Alexander. But it's Remember the Titans. Yeah. This stars, if you don't know, a fellow by the name of Denzel Washington.
Mm-hmm.
He's been in a couple things, but you probably don't recognize him.
84%.
89.
92.
Sterling, 72%.
Dang it.
72%.
I should have gone lower.
Michael?
89.
92.
Over. It was 93. So Mick gets the point.
Nice.
Because he can't. If he goes 95, you're only one away.
It's impossible.
All right, your second movie, Sterling. We got to rip through these, as you said.
Talking about dudes again. We're the other guys.
The other guys.
The other guys.
Okay, I like it. The other guys.
Desk pops.
Love it.
78.
Oh!
78?
Man,
On
another
the
one.
nose.
Well,
Great.
Michael Darcy was like, "Hey, you said we got to rip through these. All right, what do you think of the? What did the fans think of it?
68.
87.
84.
60 somehow. Mick gets it.
Wow. Your second movie,
Next
Michael?
movie, Get a Job.
Get a
It's
Job.
got,
Okay, very good.
Miles Teller, Anna Kendrick, and Bryan Cranston in it.
Oh, interesting. That sounds good.
Another
year was
bad,
this?
good. Oh, that's a great. 2016.
Okay.
Comedy or no?
It is the comedy.
Okay. It's kind of funny.
It was kind of funny.
29%.
37.
50.
9%.
Oh, darn it. I
go.
didn't go lower on that
Daddy.
one. I'm going to say 15%. Daddy.
23%.
26.
21%. Sterling gets it.
All right, Mick, your final movie. By the way, it's 6-5 to 4-2.
Who's in first?
Mick is in first with 6, Michael with 5. You have 4. I've got 2.
Begonia with Emma Stone.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Begonia with Emma Stone. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that is an 89.
Is this new?
You win. 88.
Yeah, there we go. Talk about burning
Is this new?
through it.
This is new.
Yes, it's new. It
Won a
just
Golden
came out.
Globe.
Yes.
People are going to like it. Then 92.
I'll say 84.
On the dot again.
Good
This
God.
guy's on fire.
Was so on fire that he just leapfrogged you and he won.
I know. Yeah, I
That's it.
respect it.
7 to 6 to 4 to 3.
3 darts, dude.
3 darts.
3 Darcys.
Darts.
3 Darcys.
Darcy darts.
7 to 6 to 4 to 3.
It's like his only points were darts.
Yeah.
There
think I
no
missed
one pointers.
everything else.
He's like
Nice
Trey
job.
White getting 15 on 5 threes last night.
Yes. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling, wrap up the show next. All right, wrapping things up here on this Wednesday edition of the show. The Royals announced yesterday they are moving the fences to Kansas. That's crazy. The Star Bonds are able to do that,
man.
So yeah, they said there's going to be more home runs somehow. It's you know what it is? It's the elevation in Kansas.
If you foul it off, that's a home run.
That's right.
There's no fences anymore. It's like basically polo ground center field, but all the way around.
It's like little kids baseball where there's no fence.
That's what I grew up with. No fences.
No fences whatsoever. What do you think of them bringing the fences in?
I was really interested in it. It's funny, and I asked the question like, "Hey, were you tempted to doesn't seem that drastic? Were you tempted to do more?" I would have. Let's bring the foul poles.
Let's have a triangle in there.
380. Yeah, let's like a little hill out there. The water spout that Mickey Mantle tripped over and tore his ACL basically. No, but I think it's cool. And they're dropping it down to 8.5 feet. And I think the most telling thing they said was the player. Did you ever say what player that the current confines, the current dimensions negatively affected the most on the team? Do you know who it was?
Bobby or Salvi?
No, I would say
one of those two.
I would say so a Bobby then.
Bobby. Yeah. I think that's the most telling thing.
So they're saying like those triples
to right center probably.
Even though we'd get some of those triples, but some of those balls that might have been
they found a happy medium to where like the R&D guy said, we don't think there's going to be any fewer triples and doubles
for Bobby. Or just
for
in general.
anybody. Oh. But we think an increase in home runs. And so the science behind it is so interesting. I don't pretend to understand half of it.
If you're hitting a line drive that hits the
I don't think it'll decrease
wall.
His doubles because, I mean, it can go right to the fielder and he can stretch out a double. Maybe a triple or two, but
I felt for a while they needed to move the fences in. And now you've got a 5-year.
I felt like that forever.
Yeah, now you've got a 5-year run to where, what if we did some things around the team we have right now?
Yeah.
And then in 5 years, we can do something different, and we're not saying we're making the fences around the team we currently have.
Yeah.
It's the perfect opportunity to do that. When you got Vinny and Cags and Carter and Bobby and Salvi, move the damn fences in.
Move them in, baby.
Heck yeah. See ya.